It was the second day after being cast aside by Leo Ruyan. I immediately turned around and married a possessive CEO wife. My CEO wife. Every day, if she isn't demanding a kiss, she's begging for a hug. The moment I refuse, immediately resorts to using restraints to serve me. Today, I had only just declined her request to give me a bath, and yet she assumed that I no longer loved her. With a darkened expression, she locked herself in the study to harm herself. I stepped out after finishing my shower, sensing that something was terribly wrong. I pushed open the study door and walked right in, only to find her curled up in a corner. Her entire being radiated an aura of profound loneliness and utter despair. The crimson bloodstains on her white shirt were blindingly vivid. I was startled. Step by step, I approached her. "Sidian, what's wrong?" My voice acted like a ray of light, causing Sidian, who was drowning in darkness, to suddenly snap back to reality. She slowly lifted her head. The very moment she saw me, she instinctively hid the object in her hand behind her back. "Please go outside, don't come over here." She was terrified. This wasn't a warning. It was pure horror. Without a moment's hesitation, I rushed to her side. I knelt down and pulled her trembling body into a tight embrace. Only in this hug did I realize her entire body was stiff. Every muscle in her body was tense to the limit. I didn't know how long she had been trapped in this emotion. I didn't know the depth of the torment she had endured. "Do you feel unwell in your heart? Did I do something wrong?" I asked softly. She shook her head violently. "Of course not. How could my Luo Chen ever be wrong? It's my fault. I've been reflecting on my mistakes." She slowly tilted her face up. Her eyes, clear as water, were brimming with tears. The slight droop at the corners of her eyes made her look so pitiful. I gave her a gentle, kind smile. I caressed her cheek and asked tenderly, "What are you reflecting on? What's the matter?" I noticed she was clenching her fists so tightly she wouldn't let go, to the point where blood was seeping from her fingernails. I reached out and held her tightly clenched hands. I didn't try to pry them open with force. I just whispered, "My hands are so cold." Sidian immediately let go and took my hands into hers. Then she placed them against her heart to warm them with such precious care. "I shouldn't have woken you up. You were sleeping. When people are woken from their sleep, it's only natural for them to feel irritable. I was wrong." Sidian explained softly. She stared intently at my hands. Her heart surged with unspeakable pain. "Maybe I won't be able to hold your hand anymore. I shouldn't have insisted on bathing you, because you aren't used to it. Doing that was wrong. Luo Chen, what else did I do wrong? Just tell me and I will fix it. It'll change right now. Truly, I beg you, please don't leave me." She struggled to suppress her crumbling emotions, so choked with tears she could barely speak. Her body felt ice cold, couldn't feel even a spark of warmth. Only then did I understand. It was because I had refused her bath offer, and my poor attitude when she woke me up. Why was she so incredibly sensitive? I wasn't angry with you. It wasn't a big deal at all. Why were you afraid? What is there to be scared of? Sidian looked up in a daze. Her brow was still tightly furrowed. "Are you really not mad at me? Then why did you call me President Su? You used to call me by my name." So that was it. The realization hit me. I gave myself a light smack on the head. Terrified, Sidian scrambled to grab my hand. The tears she had been holding back suddenly burst forth like a fountain. She felt as if her heart were being squeezed. "Luo Chen, hit me. It's all my fault." Seeing this, I hurriedly caressed her face, pressed my forehead against hers, muzzling her gently. Then I slowly pulled back. "I was only teasing you. Why did you take it so seriously? Besides, it's just a title. Is it really that important?" Sidian nodded vigorously. "It's very important, because you're all I have left." Hearing this, I was a bit confused, but after reflecting for a moment, I gently tilted Sidian's chin up and struck a deal with her. "Technically, I should call you wife, but that sounds a bit too formal, and calling you by your full name feels like a stranger. How about I call you Sidian? Would that be okay?" Sidian froze. She stood as still as a statue. She just stared at me blankly. She didn't expect me to react this way. The fear of being abandoned seemed to vanish. Instead, she was being treated with even more sweetness. "You don't like it?" I scratched my head, slightly embarrassed. "If you don't like it, then I love it." She blinked her eyes, swollen red from crying, and then she nodded her head repeatedly with conviction. "I like it. I like it so much. Are you really going to call me that, Luo Chen?" "Sidian, I like you." I leaned in close to her. and pressed a soft kiss onto her lips. Su Sidian's emotions finally calmed down because of it. She reached up to touch her lips. She bowed her head and smiled softly with joy. Seeing her react this way, she was surely feeling much better. Then I pointed to her arm. Let me see. How did you get hurt? Su Sidian suddenly snapped out of it. Her anxiety flared up once more. She quickly hid her arm behind her back. She shook her head violently. I'm not sick. I'm not crazy. Luo Chen, I'm really not ill. It's not what it looks like. This was just an accident. Seeing this, I played along with her explanation to comfort her. My Sidian is the best girl, right? I never said you were sick, did I? But if you're hurt, I have to see the wound. We need to bandage it up, because I'll be very worried. Besides, if you hurt yourself, you'll feel uncomfortable. Then how will you be able to take care of me? That makes sense, she nodded. Then she slowly reached both hands out to me. The moment I rolled up her sleeves. The sight broke my heart beyond words. There were 3 jagged wounds on her arm. To call it a bloody mess would be no exaggeration. The blood had already coagulated and dried on her skin. Even so, I didn't dare show too much emotion. I understood it perfectly now. Just the slightest change in my behavior could become a reason for Su Sidian to torment herself. How did it get this bad? It hurts a lot, doesn't it? I murmured softly. My brow furrowed with distress. Su Sidian's other hand was still hidden behind her back. She slowly brought it forward and presented a jet-black leather whip to me. I couldn't help but gasp. A leather whip caused this much damage. Does this thing really have that much power? I did wrong. This is my punishment, so I don't feel the pain. Don't worry, Luo Chen. This is for you. From now on, if I do something wrong, you can use it on me. Su Sidian thrust the whip into my hand. Her eyes were filled with desperate urgency. The corner of my mouth twitched. I didn't know how to describe my feelings, but mostly, it was just pure heartache. Then let's go treat your wounds first. Okay. Su Sidian immediately stood up and extended her arm towards me. She wanted me to help her up. The moment we stepped outside, we heard voices coming from the living room. If it doesn't work, just call the morgue and get it over with. Tang Lin, Su Sidian uttered the name. Her voice was cold as ice. Her eyes were dark. I'm just joking. Don't look at me like that. Tang Lin took a few steps back. Let me treat the wound. Su Sidian dropped a cold remark. Then she turned and entered a room I had never seen before. I followed close behind. When the door opened, I discovered it was a medical suite. Inside was a single medical bed. Beside it were oxygen tanks, several cabinets, and even a few refrigerators. Just as I was about to do something, I turned and saw the woman named Tang Lin enter. She skillfully donned a white lab coat. She pulled a medical tray out of the cabinet, hemostatic forceps, gauze, and a bunch of things like iodine alcohol. So she was a doctor. Judging by appearances alone, there was simply no way to associate her with this profession. I wondered if she was even professional. Maybe because I stared at Tang Lin for too long. Su Sidian's expression grew darker by the second. She looked at me with eyes as sharp as razors. I felt a sudden chill down my spine. I turned and asked, Sidian, what's wrong? The tray in Tang Lin's hand nearly slipped. She fumbled it because of the way I addressed her. This kid really doesn't care about his own life. This is no joke. No one in this world dares to call Su Sidian that, and expect to be standing here in one piece for more than 3 minutes. I'll probably have to wait to collect your remains. Remember to put in a good word for me with King Yama down there. Or maybe open an account and deposit some money for me first, so after I die, I won't have to be a doctor anymore. At that moment, Su Sidian looked at me. The icy sharpness in her eyes vanished instantly. Her gaze became as gentle as autumn waters. Luo Chen, look at me. I look all right, don't I? How do I compare to her? She said, pointing toward Tang Lin. Tang Lin's eyes widened in shock. She quickly rubbed her eyes, fearing her eyeballs might actually pop out if she wasn't careful. Has Su Sidian lost her mind? Has she lost her soul? Why would you ask that? I stroked her head. Of course you're beautiful. You're gorgeous. As for Dr. Tang, she just has a completely different style. Tang Lin felt certain she was sleepwalking. She rubbed her eyes in utter disbelief. This guy actually dared to pat Su Sidian's head, as if he were stroking a little puppy. And yet, Su Sidian didn't fly into a rage. In fact, she seemed to be quite enjoying it. Someone in this room has definitely gone mad. If it's not him, then it's Su Sidian. So, which style does Luo Chen like? Her dead serious questioning made me realize the problem immediately. She was definitely jealous because I'd been looking at Tang Lin. Are you jealous? Of course, I like Sidian best. Su Sidian immediately stuck her neck out, casting a proud and disdainful glance at Tang Lin. Tang Lin was filled with grievance but didn't dare say a word. Even if she were 10,000 times braver, she wouldn't dare compete for a man with a maniac like Tsundere. Dr. Tang, hurry up and treat her. What are you standing there for? I urged her. Tsundere gently took my hand and whispered, Luo Chen, could you wait outside for me? I'm not used to someone staring at my wounds. It makes me feel a bit self-conscious. After I stepped out, Tsundere leaned her arm on the bed, glaring coldly at Tang Lin as she treated the wounds. Tang Lin's hand faltered. She glanced at Tsundere with total bewilderment, then quickly lowered her head to continue the work. I'm truly in awe of you. Are you treating me as an imaginary rival again? He's yours. I don't have the guts to steal him. Besides, your husband only looked at me for a split second. Did you really need to act like it was a major catastrophe? You don't understand. The world is full of people with wicked intentions. It's better to be cautious about these things early on. Should I wait until the day my husband is stolen to start begging him to stay? Tang Lin rolled her eyes in exasperation. Just sit still. Time for the gauze. I promise it won't hurt. I'm not afraid of pain, Tsundere replied offhandedly. In the living room, I stared anxiously at the closed door. When I turned to look at Butler Chu, I saw the same troubled expression on his face. Did he know something? Uncle Chu, you know everything about Sidian, don't you? I heard Grandma say that you've been taking care of her ever since she was very young. So, can you tell me a bit about her? At least so I can understand why she's become like this. I want to help her. Butler Chu bowed his head in solemn thought, though still somewhat hesitant. He could see the sincerity in my eyes. Sir, the young lady suffers from a psychological disorder. It is a very severe borderline personality disorder. Her thoughts and emotions will often spiral into extreme states. I began caring for her when she was 10. I don't know much about what happened before then, but I heard the old madam mention it once. When she was 5 years old, her younger brother tragically passed away. The mother blamed everything on her. Constant lashings and solitary confinement. They made the young lady withdrawn and lonely. In that house was a tiny, cramped storage closet. That was the place reserved for locking her away. There wasn't a single window inside, not even a light bulb. The mother would often say, "Why weren't you the one who died?" Or, "It was you who killed your brother." Later, the old madam took her in, and the parents divorced. Her mother went abroad and never returned. I was left in a state of utter shock. How could a mother like that even exist in this world? In those years before she was rescued, what kind of life did Sidian have to endure? Did her father not care at all? Butler Chu sighed softly. His eyes were overflowing with sorrow. Cared, of course he cared. But that mother's possessiveness was too intense. Even the father was restricted in every way. Everything in the house was under her control. According to the old madam, the young lady's exact time leaving the house, the time she had to be back, bath time, meal time. Everything was controlled to the very minute. Even a 1-minute delay meant punishment. When she was little, there wasn't a single inch of unscarred skin on her body. Finally, the father had to resolve to get a divorce. In the entire Su family, only the young lady's parents had ever divorced. I was just about to ask more. Before the words could leave my mouth, the door of the treatment room swung open. Sidian hurried over to me. She slightly pulled up her sleeve to show me the freshly bandaged wound. Luo Chen, is this all right? Seeing her cautious, hesitant demeanor, almost as if she were trying to curry favor, caused me endless heartache. What exactly had she been through all these years? How much loneliness and fear was hidden in her heart? No wonder throughout this entire estate, the lights are always kept brightly lit at night. She must be absolutely terrified of the dark. That dark room, and she was only 5 years old back then. Is it not good? I'm sorry, Luo Chen. Ill immediately. I grabbed her hand directly and pulled her entire body into my chest. Sidian, you did very well. It's great. I'm very pleased and I love you so much. Sidian's insecurity slowly subsided thanks to those few words of praise. When she looked up again, the panic in her eyes had also vanished, replaced by a gaze overflowing with tenderness. Tang Lin stood to the side, witnessing this with a face like she'd just seen a ghost. What was happening? Had Sidian short-circuited, or was she having an episode? How could she let this young husband of hers wrap her around his finger so completely? At that moment, Sidian turned around. The gentleness in her eyes evaporated instantly, replaced by an undisguised hatred. Learn again and I'll gouge your eyes out. Tang Lin looked down in terror. I patted her head and said softly, "Don't be like that. Dr. Tang just helped you. Don't be so impolite, all right?" "Yes," she nodded. Then she walked toward Tang Lin, step by step. Tang Lin was scared out of her wits. She trembled and retreated continuously. Su Sidian, murder is against the law. Don't you dare touch me. I'm warning you. If you go too far, I'm never coming back. I'm sorry, Su Sidian apologized with a deadly serious face. Tang Lin froze instantly. She stared in total disbelief at Su Sidian's still gloomy face. Su Sidian actually apologized to her. Was my life about to end? No way. My mother is still waiting for me to come home for dinner. Su Sidian turned to look at me, asking obediently, "Is this okay?" I apologized. I patted her head, smiling and praising her. Good girl. Sidian is such a good girl. Can we go back to the bedroom? I'm very sleepy. She gazed up at me, asking softly, "Can you carry me to the room?" I nodded and carried her back to the bedroom. When standing by the bed, she looked incredibly awkward. She looked down at her own body, covered in both blood and sweat. She couldn't just lie on the bed like this. I'm going to shower. Lu Chen, you rest first. Let me bathe you. Stand there and wait for me, I commanded. Then, before she could react, I walked into the bathroom. The bathwater wasn't too hot. Su Sidian stood by the tub, shyly bowing her head. The tips of her ears turned bright crimson, looking just like a ripe cherry. I turned back to look at her. Only then did I realize she seemed to be bashful. She was fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. Can I bathe myself? I promise I won't touch the wound. I slowly stood up, seeing that she truly didn't want to. I didn't push her any further. All right, then be careful. Just call me if you need anything. About 10 minutes later, she stepped out of the bathroom wrapped in a robe, drying her hair with one hand, while holding the other arm out to show me. I'm all clean, and I didn't touch the wound at all. I guided her to sit in front of the vanity and took the towel from her hands, meticulously drying her hair for her. Don't keep raising your arm like that. It's not good for the healing process. Be good, just sit still. Let me take care of the rest. I set the towel down and used the blow dryer to dry her hair. My hands gently massaged her scalp. Do you like my hair? She asked so seriously, giving me the feeling that if I said no, she would immediately cut it all off. I like it. I leaned in and gave her a light kiss on the cheek. Su Sidian stared at me in the mirror, stunned. In an instant, her ears flared up a fiery red. That night, both of us had a deep, restful sleep. Early in the morning, I was awakened by the phone ringing. Yawning, I picked up the phone. Drawing out my words, I asked, "Who is it?" "It's morning already." "Little Chen, come to the station. We have a case." The caller was brief and hung up before I could even reply. I became fully alert instantly and sprang out of bed. Su Sidian, lying beside me, sat up as well. "What is it? Do you have to go to the police station?" "Yes." "And you? Are you going to work?" Su Sidian stepped off the bed before me. Entering the bathroom, she said, "No. I'll drive you to the station. And then I'll wait to pick you up and bring you home." After finishing our morning routines, she had the driver bring around a specialized car. Once inside, she handed me a cup of yogurt, watching me take a few sips. Then she unwrapped a sandwich and held it to my mouth. I originally intended to take it myself, but she pulled it away. "Let me feed you." I opened my mouth and took a bite, and frowned slightly. "Is it not good?" she asked softly. I nodded. "It's not good. I don't really like dishes with cheese." "But there's no cheese." She lowered her head. Taking a glance, she had already instructed Butler Zhu before. Luo doesn't like cheese. This thing is not allowed to appear in this house. This sandwich. Why is there a slice of cheese tucked inside like that? How incredibly negligent of them. The kitchen staff have all been fired. Let me go downstairs and buy something else for you to eat. I don't even know how much longer you'll be busy. Skipping meals will make you feel very unwell. It's okay, don't worry about me. You can just head to work in a bit. I'll head home on my own once I'm finished. Catching a taxi here is very convenient. Besides, I can just drive myself here in the future. Su Sidian didn't answer. She just silently sat up straight again. After giving me an uneasy glance, she just kept her head down the whole time. The car slowly stopped in front of the police station gates. I turned my head intending to speak to her, only to find her expression looking a bit unusual. Quickly understood. I hurriedly said, "I'll call you when I'm done with work. Can you come pick me up?" "Okay." She immediately cheered up again. She had originally thought Luo didn't need her, but now it seems her husband still needs her very much. As soon as I entered the station, I noticed the atmosphere was off. Everyone in the criminal investigation unit looked dejected. Every one of them had deep, dark circles under their eyes. Turning my head, I saw a familiar figure, standing in front of a whiteboard, observing it intently. Hearing the noise, that person also walked toward me. Xiao Luo, why are you just getting here now? He clearly already knew I would be coming. I looked surprised. The police station actually managed to invite Muga here. He's the most famous psychologist in the city, and a brilliant talent who studied abroad as well. So this matter is definitely no small thing. Any solutions yet? Muga turned his head to look at the busy crowd. He looked at me and nodded firmly. It's a major case. Otherwise, why would they have to call you too? I smiled. You took the words right out of my mouth. I casually pulled out a chair from a nearby desk. Just as I was about to sit down, a man in a police uniform walked quickly toward us. Professor Luo, Dr. Mu, you've both arrived. Wonderful, please come over here quickly. A case occurred in the city the day before yesterday. We need a little assistance from both of you. Understood, I followed his footsteps and went inside. Captain Jiang, haven't you guys been able to rest yet? I see everyone's eyes are looking quite glazed over. You bet they are. You have no idea we have to catch this guy as soon as possible. Otherwise, there will be huge trouble. Captain Jiang's words stopped there. These two are both consultants invited specifically. Assisting with the investigation is fine, but he cannot disclose deeper details of the case. Spending the entire morning meeting with several groups, synthesizing the characteristics everyone described. I handed a sketch over to Captain Jiang. He took the sketch and practically flew out the door. Mugi shook his head, muttering a tiny sentence. He also stepped outside. Look at him, in such a rush. At his age, he has no composure at all. Mugo, wait a moment. I called out to hold him back. At this moment, only the two of us were left in the room. I then spoke up to ask him. It's like this. I want to ask you something about the symptoms of borderline personality disorder and how one lives with people who have it. Most importantly, can this illness be cured? Mugo was stunned for a moment. Only then did he open his mouth to ask, is it a friend of yours? Not a friend. I'm not in a position to disclose who this person is right now. Regardless, I've never discussed this matter with them. It is their private matter. Just speak frankly with me. This person is very, very important to me. Muge seemed to understand somewhat. He thought for a moment. I'm not entirely sure either. Why are you so certain that person has this illness? If it is indeed so, then you must be a bit careful. First, borderline personality disorder is an illness that severely affects one's ability to regulate their emotions. Patients will exhibit intense emotional fluctuations, always feeling uncertain about themselves. Their way of perceiving things is always the most extreme. If it's good, it's perfect. If it's bad, it's catastrophic. I've already felt all of these things. My expression became serious as I nodded in agreement. Anything else? If it were only that, if it were just that much, then I wouldn't have told you to be careful. Mugi continued to explain. Most importantly, they will have impulsive behaviors, doing dangerous things or engaging in self-harm, and once they have committed to a relationship, they absolutely cannot accept being abandoned. He deliberately used the words being abandoned, emphasized that feeling further. I continued to press him. Is it related to family? It's related, but I can't say for sure, because I haven't met them, nor do I know their family history, or their living environment. Many situations can cause this issue, but it also has varying degrees. There are cases that aren't too severe. I carefully recalled Su Sichin's symptoms, based on the shallow pool of psychological knowledge that I had once looked into. Su Sichin's symptoms could be considered very severe. After all, she has already engaged in self-harm. So, can it be cured? Yes. Mugi answered seriously. Psychological therapy. Medication. Of course, the most important part is emotional companionship. The methods of treatment are mostly the same as others. The most crucial thing is, the treatment process for such patients is extremely difficult. I nodded. Thank you. I understand. Having said that, I looked at Mugi with a stern expression again. If that person is willing to undergo treatment, could you help me? If you need anything, just come find me. Although this illness is quite serious, for me it seems manageable. After all, I am quite excellent. Right at that moment, there was a knock on the door. Captain Jiang walked in carrying 2 lunchboxes. Please, both of you, have your meal first. There's another case this afternoon. I'll have to trouble you both. Muga opened the exquisite lunchbox in front of him. The food was surely prepared by a high-end restaurant. The nutritional balance was also very complete, especially the soup made from black truffles. He pushed the lunchbox toward me. Frowning, he looked up at Captain Jiang. This meal isn't provided by the unit, is it? With your budget, you wouldn't be feeding us such an expensive meal. Captain Jiang gave an appreciative thumbs up, eyes full of praise. Young hero, you have a sharp eye. After speaking, he let out a sigh. If everyone in my team were like you, Then I would have saved so much effort. This meal was a gift from an enthusiastic citizen. We don't know who they are either. They just brought it to the gate and left a note, saying it was from a citizen thanking the police for their dedication. Muga looked at me enjoying the food. It's not poisoned, right? Yet you dare to just eat it like that. I pointed out through the glass window. They've all been eating for a while now. If it were poisoned, they'd be the first to kick the bucket. Don't worry, the police are still very cautious, Captain Jiang. Hastily explained, it's not poisoned. We already called and asked the restaurant. We also checked the surveillance cameras. There's definitely no problem. Besides, the brothers in the team really did eat first. Then we brought some to the two of you. As he was about to leave, he looked full of pride, raising a fist to his chest toward the two of them. I have to work hard. You see how high the citizens' expectations are of us. We can't let them down. Mugi still didn't eat this meal. With the vigilance of a professional psychologist, he wouldn't eat things of unknown origin like this, even though he was a bit hungry. Preferred to just drink plain water. The sampling in the afternoon went more smoothly than in the morning. By the time I finished my work, Mugi was still in the interrogation room. I glanced at my phone. There were over 20 missed calls on it. Suddenly, I felt my heart skip a beat. Perhaps Su-chan was looking for me. But why so many calls? After unlocking the screen, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Only one missed call was from Su-chan. The other 19 calls were all from Liu Ruyan. This bitch. I hadn't even gone looking for her yet, and yet she came crawling to my door herself. In my previous life, she and Shenfang colluded. They caused my death. Even though I have been reincarnated, how could I ever forget the agony of life and death? So I will definitely have my revenge on this pair of bastards. And I must act quickly. Letting them live in peace for even one more day would be a disservice to my former self. However, I still chose to call Su-chan back first. The other end picked up almost instantly. Ah, Luo. Are you finished with work? That familiar voice was slightly hoarse, clearly trying to sound casual. It made my heart feel restless. Tian, I forgot to tell you. I usually don't carry my phone while I'm working. Are you okay? You weren't worried about me, right? Are you feeling upset? The other end of the line suddenly went silent. It was so quiet that I could clearly hear the sound of her breathing on the other side. But Su-chan quickly replied, I'm okay. It's just, I missed you a little. Her tone didn't change much. It seemed there was some emotion that she was trying hard to suppress, but I could hear it. But since she wasn't by my side right now, there was nothing I could do. I could only meet her quickly to see if she was feeling better. I'm done with work. Can you come pick me up? I just finished work too. As soon as you walk out of the station, you'll see me. Could such a request even be granted? I hurriedly stuffed my phone into my pocket and dashed all the way outside. The moment I saw her, I opened my arms wide. She was startled by my action, but she also quickly ran toward me. I pulled her tightly into my embrace. This real and warm hug caused much of her insecurity to melt away. So silly. Why were you running like that? The road isn't very good. What would I do if you fell down? She peered out from my chest. Her eyes were brimming with love. They say you have to run as fast as you can to the one you love most. I quickly reminded her, you are a CEO, you know? Don't talk such nonsense. Running and jumping around like this all day. How does that look? No composure at all. I turned my head to look back at the police station gates, hurriedly pulling Su-chan toward the car. Let's go. Even though I'm just an external collaborator, hugging in front of the police station gates isn't a very good look. Let's just go home first. All along the way, she held my arm without letting go for a single second. She truly missed Ah Luo too much. She didn't feel this way before they were together, but they've only been living together for a few days. Yet the moment they're apart, the longing becomes so intense. Missing him so much, she couldn't even work all day. She stood waiting at the police station gate until she was exhausted. The gatekeeper had already looked at her several times, so she had to step back a little further. Just as we arrived home, the man sitting in the villa's lobby quickly stood up and walked toward her. President Su, I've already sent today's work to you. There are also some documents that need your signature. Will you be coming to the office tomorrow? Su-chan gave him a sharp, cutting glare. Han Chuan immediately fell silent. His face turned pale as he looked at the person standing beside Su-chan. That is, hurriedly greeting me politely. Hello, sir. I nodded. I reached out and tilted Su-chan's chin up. You didn't go to the office. Then today you. Su-chan looked at me with an embarrassed expression, confusedly scratching her earlobe. I'm sorry, Ah Luo. Today I just stood at the gate waiting for you. I missed you so much. Being away from you makes me feel so uneasy. Please don't be angry. I won't interfere with your work. My heart ached as I cupped her face. You waited all day? You really are a little fool. I went there to work. You can't just stand and wait like that every time I go to work. Once I'm done, I'll naturally come home. In my heart, I knew clearly that a simple promise didn't have much effect on Su Sichin. But luckily, as long as the station doesn't call, then I don't need to go there. That way, there'll be plenty of time to be by her side. And plenty of time to deal with that pair of bastards, Liu Ruyan. I know. Just this once. From now on, I'll go to work obediently. This unusually obedient and submissive look on Su Sichin left Han Chuan standing nearby completely flustered, seeing that she still had some company business to handle. So I said, Tian, go ahead and handle your work first. I'll head upstairs first. Su Sichin shot a glare at Han Chuan, quickly signing the stack of documents Han Chuan brought, and then dismissing him. I had just finished my shower and walked out when Liu Ruyan's phone call came in again. Annoyed, I pressed the answer button. The other end immediately launched into a tirade. What is wrong with you? I called you over a dozen times and you didn't even bother to answer. Luo Chen, don't be so incredibly arrogant. My face was full of bewilderment. I even found it extremely laughable. Liu Ruyan, just because you call, am obligated to answer. Who do you think you are? If you're sick, go get treatment. If it weren't for needing to get revenge on this bitch later, I definitely would have blacklisted her a long time ago. On Liu Ruyan's end, she probably didn't expect that I would scold her like that. Even though I used to be indifferent to her, I at least maintained minimum politeness. Especially when I knew we were about to get engaged. I was even more courteous then. She quickly adjusted her emotions, softly coaxing. Isn't it because I'm worried about you? Luo Chen, I heard from CEO Vu that you're about to marry Su Sichin. How could that be possible? That Su Sichin is a well-known psycho, and she's vicious too. If you actually marry her, I'm afraid it won't be long before she tortures you to death. I'm only doing this for your own good. Tell me where you are. I'll come and bring you back. I suppressed my anger, pronouncing each word clearly. Su Sichin is my wife now. I won't allow anyone to speak about her like that. This is the first time I'm warning you like this, and I hope it will also be the last, if I ever hear these words from your mouth again. Liu Ruyan. Then you'd better watch out. I hung up. I had just tossed the phone onto the table when I turned around and saw Su Sichin standing at the door. I hung up. I had just tossed the phone onto the table when I turned around and saw Su Sichin standing at the door. Her face was deathly pale now, and in her eyes, a flash of undisguisable disappointment. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were on the phone. She turned around intending to leave. Her back looked so pitiful, just like a pet that had just been abandoned by its owner. I hurriedly ran over and embraced her from behind. Su Sichin clearly stiffened, feeling incredibly uncomfortable, yet she still stood motionless in place. Did you hear that? I took hold of her arms and gently forced her to turn around and face me. Though the two of us were now face to face, Su Sichin still kept her head hanging low, not daring to look me in the eye. Yes, she heard it. Heard Ah Luo calling Liu Ruyan's name, though she hadn't heard the entire call. She knew full well that Liu Ruyan had reached out to him. I'll take my leave now. Please rest. Su Sichin tried to run away as if to escape. Seeing this, I ran up and grabbed her hand, quickly taking out my phone and showing her the screen. The reason I haven't blocked her number yet is because she still owes me a few things. I originally planned to wait until I got everything back before telling you, but it seems I have to change my plans now. The most important thing is that you don't misunderstand me. I lifted her chin, forcing her to look at my phone. That I quickly move Liu Ruyan's number into the blacklist. Su Sichin was instantly stunned, so Ah Luo was willing to block Liu Ruyan for her sake. Then I raised my hand, pulled her tightly into my chest, burying my face in her hair, softly feeling her breath. Only then did Su Sichin feel a bit happier. She tilted her neck up and lightly placed a kiss on my chin. Then she suddenly stopped, raising her hand to touch her own lips. What's wrong? I asked worriedly. I also reached up to touch my chin. Only then did I realize my stubble had scratched Tian. Su Sichin nodded her head. Her voice carried a touch of playfulness. It stings a little, but it's okay. A man should look a bit rugged after all. I like it. I used my index finger to lightly touch the corner of her lips. Tian, when you smile, you look as beautiful as a little sun. But why do you smile so rarely? Is it really beautiful? Su Sichin asked back with disbelief. It's incredibly beautiful. What's more, I absolutely love watching you smile. I led her by the hand to sit down. In truth, Su Sishin really wanted to explain to me why she didn't often smile. But saying those words would be like begging for pity. She didn't want to do that, much less bother with it. So she took the initiative to change the subject. If Lua likes me smiling, then I'll smile more from now on. For these past 2 days, Su Sichin has kept her promise to go to the office. But each time she returned home very early, she didn't know why. Before they were together, she didn't have this feeling. Now whenever she sits alone in her empty office, her head is filled entirely with images of Luo. She had absolutely no peace of mind left for work. If it weren't for Han Chuan's meticulousness in handling her constant mistakes, then she would have thought the Si Shang group was bound to be ruined in her hands sooner or later. But come to think of it, even if it were ruined, it wouldn't matter. Even though she used to value the company above everything else, right now, she only wishes to have as much time as possible to be able to stay by Alu's side. Work or whatever, it really doesn't matter anymore. Watching Alu having breakfast, she suddenly felt as if a ray of winter sunlight was gently warming her entire body, feeling an extraordinary warmth throughout her being, as if the warmth was radiating from deep within her heart. Are you even listening to what I'm saying? You're always so quiet and brooding. I'm listening. Su Sichen smiled and handed me a slice of buttered toast, then said, "Come home a bit early this afternoon. Chairman Shen said he wants you to go home for a visit. I'll go with you." Shen Fu, Wang has been calling me constantly for the past 2 days. If I don't go back, it would really be a bit disrespectful. Even though I don't want to step foot in that house even once more. But he is still my biological father, after all. What I mean is, actually, I can just head back on my own. Father called me back. It's probably just something he needs to discuss. Don't worry, Tian Tian. You can just focus on your own work. I really didn't want Su Sishin to come with me back to that house, partly because it felt a bit awkward, and even more because I'm worried that Shin Fang will say something unpleasant, though there's nothing left between Liu Ruyan and me. But that day when I caught the two of them sneaking around together, Shin Fang had clearly noticed me standing in the shadows, yet he kept perfectly silent about it. Perhaps this matter isn't simple either, Susa. Tian didn't say anything further. She just finished her meal in silence and left for the company. Bored, I scrolled through my phone and saw a police press conference, announcing that they had solved a serial murder case. The killer had murdered 4 people within 3 months. Moreover, all the victims were women. Comparing it with the time of the crimes and the materials Captain Ju had given me to review, perhaps it's the suspect I sketched. Thinking of this, I took my phone and messaged Mu Ge. "Have you seen the news yet?" The other end quickly replied, "I have, but an elite consultant absolutely won't ask what shouldn't be asked." I pouted, still that old scholar style of his. "When did I even ask you? I was just curious and wanted to discuss it." The other side kept showing typing. It took a while to get a response. "It is indeed that case." I frowned, not knowing if I was being too suspicious, but I just felt something was off. Just then, Butler Chu's words interrupted my thoughts. "Sir, the driver has prepared the gifts, and they've been loaded into the car. What time do you plan to leave?" "Gifts?" I stood up and took a look outside. "Yes, the young mistress prepared them early this morning. You don't need to worry about it. Once we reach the Shen family, the driver will bring them in." I didn't expect Su Sidian to be so thoughtful. Perhaps because this is the first time going home since registering our marriage. I went into the dressing room. On the center rack, 2 outfits were already prepared. One was a gray suit, paired with small black leather shoes. The other was a light blue casual outfit with a pair of white shoes. I chose the blue set and put it on. When I got in the car, the driver had turned on the AC early. Although the Su family manor isn't close to the Shen family villa, but with no traffic, the car arrived very quickly. The car slowly stopped in front of the gate. The driver opened the door for me, then went to the trunk to get the gifts that Su Sidian had prepared. "Father, why did you ask for me?" Shen Futuang put down his phone, took off his glasses, and first let out a cold, dissatisfied huff. "What's this? You came back alone? You're married, and Su Sidian wouldn't even make one trip back here with you." Shen Fang heard the noise, poked his head out from the music room next door, then quickly ran over to me, saying sarcastically, "Oh, brother's back. And look at all these gifts. It seems Su Sidian treats you pretty well. I heard she's a cruel person. So, have you been beaten yet?" I took a step forward and sneered. "I've let you talk way too much, haven't I? Who do you think you are? You live on a gossip wheel that you speak so mockingly and sarcastically?"
Just get over the fact that you couldn't marry her.
Shen Fuquang slammed his hand on the table. I told you to come back for a family reunion. What's with all this grandstanding? Luxury cars. Bringing all these things, what is there to show off? Remember, you are the son of Shen Fuquang, a descendant of the Shen family. Be humble in everything you do. Don't make me lose face. I was stunned for a moment, turning to look at the car parked at the gate. Would you be happier if I had walked back here? I retorted irritably. Shen Fang chimed in. If you only came back to make father angry, then you really didn't need to come back at all. After all, you're a son-in-law of a wealthy family now. I replied with a cold laugh. Then it's best if you never get married in your life. Shen Fang's sore spot was hit. He didn't know how to argue back, only able to say huffily, I'm just trying to be helpful. You don't have to be so excessive. Oh right, Sister Ruyan is coming later. She's coming to discuss some business, you don't mind, right? Liu Ruyan, what is she doing here? A bad premonition suddenly rose in my heart. Just as I was about to text Su Sidian, Shen Fang walked straight toward me. Brother, I saw you that night. You saw it too. The one in Sister Ruyan's heart is me. She only had her eye on you because of the money your mother left for you. Actually, she's not short on money. It's just that her mother forced her to marry you. I know you've always been pining for her, but too bad the one she loves is me. I looked at this guy with a look of pure shock, finding it both ridiculous and absurd. Who on earth told Shen Fang that the one I love is Liu Ruyan? Fine. If you like her, go ahead and hold on to her. But remember this well. If I accidentally steal her away, don't you dare cry then. That's a given. Before Shen Fang could finish, he suddenly froze. His gaze went past me, staring intently at the person behind. I also turned to look. Dien. Why are you here too? Thought you weren't coming. I spoke while walking towards Su Sidian. She reached out and took my hand out of habit. How could I not come? Look, isn't there someone trying to bully you? Shen Fang stood there awkwardly. Hearing the noise, Shen Fuquang also hurried out to smooth things over. It's just kids playing around. That's normal. President Su, please don't take it to heart. Your visit to our humble home is a great honor. A great honor, Su Sidian nodded, then spoke slowly. So, my Eluo is being bullied, isn't he? Shen Fuquang probably didn't expect her to keep clinging to this topic without letting go, momentarily at a loss for words. Su Sidian seriously looked me over from head to toe. She spoke coldly again. President Shen, you must have heard of my reputation, Su Sidian. I am someone who protects my own and is extremely unreasonable. It's fine if my Eluo bullies others, but if anyone dares to touch him, I will definitely make them regret it for the rest of their life. I looked up and gave her a thumbs up in admiration. Su Sidian couldn't help it. The corners of her lips curled up slightly. From inside, Wu Mai rushed out to mediate. No bullying at all. Who would bully Luo Chen? This boy has never been one to take losses. Is everyone here? Why hasn't Ruyan arrived yet? Just as she finished speaking, a familiar female voice echoed from the doorway. I'm here, Auntie. I've arrived. Liu Ruyan walked in carrying a bag. Seeing Su Sidian, she froze for a second, then handed the bag to Wu Mai. Auntie, I brought some bird's nest for you. Oh, you child, why so formal? It's enough for you to visit often. No need for gifts. Wu Mai smiled so widely she couldn't close her mouth, and invited everyone into the dining room. All along the way, Su Sidian's eyes remained fixed on my face. Then she shot a glance at Liu Ruyan. Her looks are only average. In every aspect, she's all too ordinary. And a total green tea bitch, too. What is there to pine over? I must schedule an eye exam for El Luo. There's definitely something wrong with his eyes. Su Sidian was naturally invited to sit at the head of the table. However, she didn't sit down immediately. Instead, she stood aside, and let me take that seat. Seeing everyone's bewildered looks, she said seriously, In my house, my husband makes the decisions. With my husband here, I wouldn't dare sit at the head of the table. I didn't bother being polite, because I'd wanted to sit in this spot for a long time. Since Su Sidian had said so, the others naturally didn't dare object. As soon as we sat down, I secretly whispered to her, Why did you come here? Su Sidian also explained softly, Because I missed you. I missed you so much. If I hadn't come, were you going to let them bully you? Or were you going to let me watch you steal Liu Ruyan back? What's so good about her anyway? She wouldn't even let you sit in this head seat. The food was served one by one. Su Sidian filled a bowl with shrimp and quietly began peeling them. Shen Fuquang, sitting nearby, finally spoke up. I called everyone back today to announce something. Regarding before, I was too hasty in making random matches. Ha ha ha, he let out a dry laugh. But no one joined in. Tsundere was busy peeling shrimp, while I was busy eating. Shen Fang and Liu Ruyan next to each other were secretly touching feet under the table. And Wu Mai was busy ordering the servants to bring more dishes. He had to cough lightly, and continued talking to himself. This time, I plan to have Ruyan and Shen Fang get engaged. I see their feelings for each other are very good. He really does like Liu Ruyan, but not to the extent that Shen Fang must marry her. However, there was no other way. The home surveillance had captured those sensitive things, and an anonymous email had also been received. Now the only way was for Shen Fang to get engaged to her, so there'd be no fear of that video leaking. Shen Fang was obviously overjoyed. "I'll follow whatever you say, father." Then he looked at me with the eyes of a triumphant winner. Liu Ruyan was stunned for a moment, then turned to look at me. Seeing I had no reaction, still calmly eating what Tsundere served me. Meanwhile, Tsundere was staring at her as if she wanted to eat her alive. She was so scared she shuddered, whispering in response, "Thank you for the support, President Shen. I will take good care of Shen Fang." Shen Fuquang looked extremely satisfied. Wu Mai, next to him, wasn't happy at all. She elbowed Shen Fuquang.
Why didn't you discuss this with me at all?
That is my son's marriage we're talking about. How can you decide so arbitrarily?
She was inherently unwilling, because the Liu family's status and the Shen family's were basically a match. In this regard, it couldn't compare to Tsundere at all. She didn't want her son to be inferior to Luo Chen. Shen Fang hurriedly added, "Mother, what are you saying? It's not arbitrary at all. I've liked Sister Ruyan since I was a kid. Surely you know that." Standing aside, Tsundere clicked her tongue, her delicate brows furrowing deeply. She picked up a piece of steamed fish, put it in my bowl, then moved it back to hers. She skillfully removed all the bones, then served it back to me. "I've removed the bones for you. But still be careful when eating. Don't get choked." The table suddenly became unusually quiet. Wu Mai laughed awkwardly, following Tsundere's lead. "Ha ha ha, less than greater than. Look at how well sister-in-law treats brother. You should definitely find a wife just like this." Having said that, she turned to Tsundere. "But you don't need to take care of him that much. After all, Luo Chen isn't a child anymore. Surely he knows how to eat fish. Since he married me, he can go forever without knowing how to do that. Besides, it's not like my hands are broken." Tsundere replied irritably, and then the entire table fell completely silent. During this meal, except for me enjoying the food, the others hardly touched their chopsticks. Since Tsundere had come in person, President Shen naturally wanted to keep her to discuss some business, because if he could latch onto this big fi, perhaps just a few words from her could open up a major business opportunity. Bored, I sat on the sofa head down playing with my phone. Luo Chen. Just then, Liu Ruyan handed me a bottle of water. "Have some water. You just ate so much. You must be thirsty, right?" Only then did I realize Shen Fang and Wu Mei had both disappeared. Only Liu Ruyan remained in the living room. "I'm not thirsty. My wife already gave me water. Besides, she warned me not to just accept things from strangers when I'm out. There are many bad people in this world. It's better for me to be a bit cautious." Liu Ruyan forced a smile, but she still sat down on the single sofa nearby, hesitating for a moment before speaking. "Luo Chen, I really don't know what on earth happened between us. Out of nowhere. Why did you go and register your marriage with Tsundere? When President Shen told me, I was truly stunned. Did she force you? We've always had feelings for each other, haven't we? Speak up. Luo Chen, if that Tsundere dared to threaten you, then what do you plan to do to her?" Resting my chin on my hand, I looked at her coldly, my gaze not hiding any provocation. "If I said Tsundere really did force me, would you dare steal me back? Or are you planning to give her a beating right now?" Sure enough, Liu Ruyan's face flickered between various shades of pale. If that were the case, I would definitely find a way. I wouldn't let you live through such unhappy days. I really like you, and my feelings are certainly not less than that Tsundere's. I admit I don't have as much money as she does, but believe me, one day I will far surpass her. After all, I graduated from a prestigious school. Everyone can see what my capabilities are. It's only because your father donated money to that school," I added, then continued coldly. "You call that school of yours prestigious? It's just some third-rate school abroad, and where Tsundere graduated from. Perhaps I don't need to remind you. Besides, she's actually 10,000 times better than you. So much so that I have no way to list it all for you. But the only thing I can tell you is that she's a good person, while you're just a bitch."
Liu Ruyan turned purple with rage, jumping up from her chair, pointing her finger directly at my face in a fit of rage. Luo Chen, I've given you way too much face, haven't I? She raised her hand to slap me across the face. Just at that moment, Su Sidian rushed in, shielding me. She grabbed Liu Ruyan's wrist tightly. Her long, narrow eyes filled with cold, murderous intent. Her thin lips were pressed tight, sending a shiver down one's spine. If you ever dare threaten my person again, I will kill you. Her voice was bone-chillingly cold, making everyone shudder in terror. Liu Ruyan was scared out of her wits, her whole body collapsing onto the floor, her face completely bloodless. Perhaps due to the immense pain, she began to let out piteous groans. Her wrist had been dislocated. What's going on? Shen Fuquang rushed out of the study, followed by Shen Fang and Wu Mai. However, upon seeing the scene before them, no one dared ask any more questions, but only quietly called the 120 ambulance. Su Sidian held my hand tightly, a hint of tenderness suddenly shining in her cold, expressionless eyes. Let's go home. It's late. I nodded and followed her out. The entire way back, both of us remained silent. I really didn't know when she had approached, or how she could snap Liu Ruyan's wrist in just an instant. However, I could clearly feel Su Sidian's fury. Was it just because Liu Ruyan had pointed a finger at me? As soon as we got home, Su Sidian dragged me by the hand straight to the bedroom. The door slammed shut with a loud bang. Su Sidian slowly loosened her grip on my hand. She turned away, not looking at me anymore, only asking coldly, if I hadn't come today, would you have even come back here? You regret marrying me, don't you? You're still pining for Liu Ruyan. Mr. Luo, didn't you once say you liked me? So how many people can your heart hold anyway? And how much room do you plan to leave for me? I was momentarily speechless, not even knowing where to start answering, in that barrage of questions. Diandian, what's wrong? Only you are in my heart now. Why do you have to be angry? And why did you call me Mr. Luo? She slowly hung her head, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. She couldn't bring herself to voice an explanation, unable to say she heard everything just now. If this thin veil hasn't been pierced yet, then Luo Chen will always be her husband. But as she said everything now, he would surely leave her. Say something, I barked, my brows furrowing in total confusion. She remained silent, without a word, and suddenly turned to walk out of the bedroom. Hey, what is the meaning of this? I found her reaction truly incomprehensible. If it were my former temper, I surely would have flown into a rage immediately, even giving her a harsh scolding. But things are different now. I clearly understood that her silence wasn't because she didn't want to speak, but because of a strange insecurity ruling her heart, and that psychological condition made it impossible for her to speak. I took a deep breath, calling everything that had happened today. The thing that fluctuated her psyche the most was naturally things related to me. She must have heard Liu Ruyan's words back then, which is why she asked if I regretted it. I breathed a small sigh of relief. At that time, I should have bluntly told Liu Ruyan that I didn't regret it at all. Just because I wanted to annoy that vile woman, caused Su Sidian to be hurt.
I really shouldn't have done that. I hurriedly opened the door, rushing downstairs toward the study. I immediately used my strength to push the door open. Sure enough, Su Sidian was standing in a corner facing the wall, her shoulders trembling slightly. Her small back heaved gently with each breath. I approached, wrapping my arms tightly around her waist from behind. Her body suddenly froze. She looked down at the arms holding her, a warm feeling suddenly rising in her heart, and she placed her hand on mine, gripping it tightly. After a long while, she slowly turned around, looking up at me. Glistening tears still lingered in her eyes, her sad, lonely expression making my heart tighten with pity.
Diandian, I had just started calling her name when Su Sidian immediately lunged and hugged me tightly. Her voice choked with sobs. Aluo, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so unreasonably jealous, nor should I have hurt Liu Ruyan. I can go and apologize to her right now. Just don't be mad at me. Don't abandon me. Saying this, she held out her arm to me. If you're still angry, you can break my arm if you want. If you don't want to do it yourself, then I'll just do it myself. Then she grabbed a glass ashtray from a nearby table, intending to smash it hard against her own arm. I was horrified, knowing I wouldn't be able to stop her in time, so I could only grab her arm with all my strength. No, you are not allowed to do that. Su Sidian, if you keep this up, I'll really get angry. As soon as she heard that, she immediately let go. The ashtray fell onto the floor with a crash. She reached out and grabbed my shoulders, her whole body trembling uncontrollably. I won't do it anymore. I'll listen to whatever you say. Just don't be mad at me. Even I didn't expect this trick to be so effective. It turns out she really cares about whether I'm angry that much. I gently loosened my grip, then cupped her face with both hands. Her eyes were bloodshot, tear after tear streaming down her cheeks. Her brows were slightly furrowed. Even the tip of her nose had turned pink. I pulled her tightly into my arms and placed gentle kisses on her cheeks. Good Diandian, stop crying. Listen to my explanation for a bit, okay? Yes, she murmured from her throat, her voice still visibly hoarse. Good girl. I patted her head like I was soothing a child, then looked straight into those eyes. Diandian, there's absolutely no Liu Ruyan in my heart. There wasn't before, and even less so now. She asked if I was forced by you. I was going to say no, but you see, is there any need for me to waste words explaining anything to that bitch? She obediently shook her head at my words. It's not necessary. Exactly, not necessary at all. Stroked her head and continued. So I just wanted to annoy her a bit. Why should I let her live comfortably? I just wanted to make her die of anger. So be a good Diandian. I don't regret it at all. Besides, you're so wonderful. How could I ever regret it? Not in a lifetime. She looked at me blankly. Luo. Actually, I know you have me in your heart. I was just afraid you wouldn't want me anymore. Saying that, she pointed toward the corner. I was just punishing myself by standing over there. Can you stop being mad at me, please? I slowly approached and embraced her. I whispered gently, you are not at fault at all. It's because I wasn't good enough. It's because I didn't explain things in time. I looked down at her, gently stroking her hair. From now on, don't call me Mr. Luo so coldly like that anymore. Susidian buried her head in my chest. She was so guilt-ridden that her voice trembled. I'm so sorry, Aluo. It's all my fault. I will never call you that again. So I'm not angry anymore. You won't be angry either, right? All right, I will never be angry with you for the rest of my life, no matter what you do. She spoke while walking upstairs. After just a few steps, she suddenly remembered the standing punishment she was serving earlier. Seeing her stop, I whispered, are you tired? Why aren't you moving? No, Susidian shook her head. I have to go back to my standing punishment. After all, I was the one who did wrong. But I'm hugging Aluo right now. I really don't want to let go, Aluo. Can I finish my punishment later? You can even extend the punishment time. My hands toyed with her silky hair. Then I placed a kiss on her lips. That extra time, let's save it for something else. Hearing my words, her heart suddenly fluttered in confusion. Her heart pounded incessantly. Her cheeks flushed bright red from the heat. I scooped her up and headed straight for the bedroom. As a man of my word, I really did spend extra time on that. Susidian was truly exhausted. She couldn't understand where I got so much energy, like a passionate machine that never tires, working hard for several hours. After finishing, I could still carry her to the bath without any effort. After drying her hair, I even took the chance to change the bedsheets. I even tidied up the bathroom a bit. Luo, stop being so busy. Let's just go to sleep. Wait for me a moment, but when I returned to the bedroom, I suddenly felt awkward. Standing by the bed, not knowing what to do next. Should I go back to my own room, or just sleep on the sofa? Luo, come sleep up here. Susidian patted the empty space beside her. I hesitated for a moment, but I reacted quickly. I can sleep with you? What else? Did you want to sleep separately? We just got married and you already want to sleep in separate rooms? Luo Chen. She drawled her voice with a threatening tone. Seeing that, I quickly slipped under her covers. She reached out and hugged my waist. She cleared her throat softly. Why do you work out to have such a great body? I replied softly. For Dian Dian, of course. I trained to have this physique. Specifically for my wife to see. For my wife to touch. And right now, you are my wife. But Aluo must remember clearly, this physique is only for your wife to see. Letting wicked women outside see it, that wouldn't make you a good husband. 9 a.m. the next morning. Dian Dian, time to wake up. We can't keep neglecting work forever. Special Assistant Han will start complaining soon. She rolled over, lying flat on my chest. Acting cute like a small animal. Luo. The money I make is enough already. I don't want to go to work at all. If Han Chuan dares to complain, I'll transfer him to the security department. Let him watch the cameras and be done with it. I burst out laughing. Then I pinched her cheek gently. If you want me by your side, then I can go to the office with you. Really? Susidian perked up immediately. Pure excitement was evident in her voice. Is Luo telling the truth? Can you really come to work with me? I nodded slightly. I can, but won't I be a distraction? After all, I've heard large companies have strict rules and lots of work. Of course not. She hugged me tight. You are my husband. Everything we have is our joint property. So you come into the office with me. It's just like you going to your own company. If it's your own company, what's there to be inconvenienced about? After freshening up, she held my hand as we went downstairs. Just as we reached the stairs, we saw Han Chuan hanging up the phone with a resentful expression. President Su, you finally decided to come down. What has been wrong with you lately? First not coming to work, then showing up late. In all the years combined, you haven't missed work as much as you have these past few days. Just as he finished complaining, he noticed. Su Sidian's face was darker than Judge Bao's. Sorry, I misspoke. He apologized quickly. But Su Sidian didn't seem inclined to let it go easily. Starting today, come here an hour earlier every morning. The ginkgo tree in the backyard needs watering. There's a ginkgo tree in the backyard?
Han Chuan's gaze went through the back door to check. He was a bit unsure. But the boss gave an order, so what could he do? Yes, President Su. Starting tomorrow, I'll come water the tree. Su Sidian pulled out a dining chair, then said coldly, I didn't tell you to water it. I want you to come and run around that tree for an hour. Every single day. Hearing this, Han Chuan slapped his own mouth. His big mouth got him into trouble again. The last time we had breakfast, she clearly noticed that I didn't like sliced bread. And I didn't like sandwiches either. This time, she changed the menu to Chinese food. She looked over at me. Indeed, Ah Luo ate much more than before. However, as soon as I took a bite of the custard bun,
I frowned slightly. Su Sidian immediately noticed. You don't like it? It's too sweet, isn't it? Seeing me nod with a displeased expression, she quickly moved the half-eaten bun to her own bowl. She tasted it. Tasting a bite, it truly was a bit too sweet. Uncle Zhao, tell the kitchen not to make sweet things for breakfast anymore. The butler replied hastily. Yes, miss, I've noted it down. After finishing the meal, she still went into the dressing room to pick out clothes for me. Another tracksuit. She said it would be more comfortable to wear. She reached out her hand and put a watch on my wrist. I was about to say, actually, a watch doesn't really go with this outfit. But seeing her wearing an identical one, I immediately understood her little intention. In the past, Su Sidian's cars were always parked in the parking lot. Today, she told the driver to park right in front of the main gate of the Xishang group. This building was the tallest in the city. She owned the entire structure. The security team at the gate saw her and immediately stood at attention. Greetings, President Su. Knowing Su Sidian's personality, she normally wouldn't respond. But today she held my hand and stopped, making a special introduction. This is the master. The guards were sharp and greeted in unison. Greetings, master. I felt a bit embarrassed. My face instantly flushed red. I lowered my head, following Su Sidian straight into the CEO's private elevator. I don't know what was with her today. Her pace was unusually slow. A walk that should have taken 3 minutes took her 10 leisurely minutes to reach the office. I took a look around her office. Besides being larger than I imagined, for a CEO's office, it wasn't that much different. Ah Luo, feel free to look around. If you get bored, tell me, I'll keep you company. Su Sidian sat at her massive desk. Just as she started working, Han Chuan walked in with a few workers. I was standing in front of the bookshelf, watching the workers move very efficiently. They installed a pure white hammock chair right by the floor-to-ceiling window. They also brought in a cabinet
and a mobile cart. I was just thinking this was a bit much. Then the next second, the workers pushed in a large 3-door refrigerator. In that moment, I didn't have words to describe my shock. Han Chuan arranged for people to fill the cabinet with the snacks I liked. The fridge was stocked with fresh fruit, along with my favorite soft drinks and fresh coconuts. They even brought in a juicer. Just leave the machine on the large table. I'll make juice for Ah Luo later. Giving an order to her subordinates. Don't let anyone touch these things. Su Sidian spoke while keeping her eyes on her work. Once everyone left, I walked to the other side of her desk. Leaning on the desk, I called softly, Dian Dian. You really didn't need to go to all this trouble. I've always been very easygoing. Whatever is fine. She imitated my posture, whispering, I know you're easygoing, but I can't be careless about it. I am your wife. Taking care of you is my duty. So please, just accept it. Don't object to me, okay? Of course, I happily agreed. Sitting in the hammock chair, I realized this thing was actually very comfortable. I took a pen and a piece of paper from the shelf right next to me and started doodling some things on it. Su Sidian finished some tasks, then stood up and washed her hands thoroughly. Juicing a glass of orange and pear, and even added a bit of cucumber.
When she brought it over, she saw me sketching. They were still just initial outline strokes. It wasn't clear what I was drawing. "Ah, Luo, have some juice. It's very hot out. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" "I'm fine, not uncomfortable at all." I intended to reach out for the glass, but as soon as I looked up, I saw her holding the straw right to my lips, so I had to open my mouth and accept it. Taking a few sips and nodding in satisfaction. Seeing my reaction, she was instantly overjoyed, pulling the nearby cart closer. "Ah, Luo, I know snacks aren't very healthy, but these should be a bit better. These are snacks meant for children. I think they're relatively healthy. Try them out. If you like any, I'll have someone buy more." "I know, go back to your work." I still didn't look up, continuing to focus on my drawing. She nodded slightly, then stood up to return to her tasks. It's just that her gaze kept drifting toward me every now and then. After a soft knock on the door, Han Chuan walked in with a man in a business suit. "President Su, this is someone from the secretarial department. He compiled the meeting minutes you requested," he said while pushing the young man forward. "President Su, Special Assistant Han said some points need special clarification. Could you please look and tell me where the problem lies?" He took a few steps closer to the desk, bowing as he handed over the document folder.
But Tsundere didn't even bother to look up. Just silently pointed to a spot in the file. "This part, check for yourself if it's correct." Jerry was momentarily flustered, not knowing what to do. Hurriedly picking up the document to re-examine it carefully, then nodded seriously. "Yes, President Su, I will handle it immediately." After that person left, I poked my head out and glanced in that direction, then stood up and walked to the desk. Placing the paper I was holding in front of her, she looked up suddenly, giving a gentle smile. "Ah, Luo, are you bored already? Let me keep you company." I shook my head, using my eyes to gesture toward the paper on the table. She looked down. It was a sketch, a drawing of her profile. Both her features and her aura were incredibly lifelike. "Ah, Luo, you're so talented. How could you draw this so beautifully? Do you like it? I had nothing to do just now, and you were all I could think about. So I just casually sketched a few lines, do you? I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it so much. Thank you, my Ah Luo. Go on with your work then. I'm going to wander around a bit and see what your company is like." After I turned and walked out, Han Chuan greeted me, then headed straight into the office. I went to the break room to brew a cup of coffee, sipping it while I walked. I was planning to check out the rooftop gym when I suddenly heard the sound of people gossiping nearby. Just as I was about to keep walking, I heard Su Sidian's name. Who is Jerry anyway? How could President Su not like him? With that physique and face, even I'm smitten. It was a woman's voice. Sounded like she was in her early 30s. "Even if you like him, it's useless," a man spoke up, interrupting her. "Someone like Jerry coming to our company, his main goal is clearly President Su. You don't even know. Before coming here, he specifically dumped his rich heiress girlfriend." Another guy chimed in. You could tell by his voice he was still quite young. "I heard this morning that President Su brought a man here. Could it be a rumored boyfriend or something?"
The woman spoke up once more. In a voice full of contempt, definitely not a husband. "What do you guys know? We women look at family background when choosing a husband. Good looks are important, obviously. But it's not like just any random person will do. Those guys are probably just after President Su's money. Or her beauty. Anyway, young guys these days all love living off a woman like that." Hearing this, I choked on my coffee and spat it out, making me choke and cough uncontrollably. The group of gossipers likely noticed the noise on this side, quickly looking around to see who was eavesdropping. Seeing a stranger, who also wasn't wearing a staff badge, they exchanged suspicious glances. The woman was the one to ask. "Are you a new intern? Which department are you in? Not even wearing a staff ID, or did you get lost? Let Big Sister lead you back." Only then did I get a good look at this woman. About 1.6 meters tall, but her weight was likely equivalent to that height. "Don't stare at me like that," she continued. "Interns these days are all like this. Don't start getting ideas you shouldn't have. Even though your looks are quite my type. But I still want to find a husband with a matching social status." After hearing that, my face darkened. Then I'm afraid our social statuses could never match. I really didn't know what words to use to describe my utter amazement in this world. How could such an overconfident creature even exist? "I suppose that's true. You're wearing clothes with no designer labels from head to toe. Your family background is probably just ordinary. But if you find me acceptable, I could consider letting you be my boyfriend. But just for dating, not for marriage, mind you. The woman showed outward regret, yet her gaze toward me remained smitten and full of lust. I just felt my scalp go numb. I didn't feel insulted, just nauseated. Are you out of your mind? I snapped back, then turned around to leave immediately. But she directly blocked my path. Which room do you work in? Let big sister here take you back. He works in the CEO's office. Sue Sidian's voice rang out from behind the crowd. She just gave a casual glance, but it carried a terrifying amount of pressure. President Sue, I was just planning to take this intern back to his desk. Our company is so large. So he got lost. Before the woman could finish her sentence, Sue Sidian landed a thunderous slap right on her face. The force was so strong that it sent her tumbling hard into a workstation, surrounding files and papers, computer keyboards and small decorations, all showered down upon her in an instant. The woman couldn't even make a sound, just holding one side of her face, looking like she was in extreme pain. Sidian stood watching from a distance, her gaze bone-chillingly cold, carrying a deadly intent. She approached the woman step by step. Once she stood towering over her.
The woman first saw a pair of black high heels, and then slowly looked up, only for Sidian to deliver another slap. This time, the woman's nose and mouth immediately began to bleed non-stop. I'm sorry, President Sue. I know my mistake. Stop hitting me. Please stop hitting me. The woman curled up and crawled under a desk to escape Sue Sidian's wrath. I rushed over and gripped her hand. Dian, don't be angry anymore. Her emotions only then began to stabilize. Looking at me, her heart suddenly clenched with pain. Luo, it's all my fault. I let someone bother you. She lowered her head, feeling consumed by guilt. A gentle smile remained on my face, as always, softly comforting her. Dian, you didn't do anything wrong.
It was someone else's fault. Actually, I was about to argue back too. I just didn't want to cause more trouble for you. So be good, don't be sad anymore, okay? She slowly brought her head close to mine, as if waiting for something. I reached out and gently stroked her head. Dian will be good, right? She nodded softly. Much of her insecure feelings vanished in an instant. She said to me, Luo, go back to the office first. Let me deal with this person. Deal with her how? My expression immediately blanked. I looked at the woman hiding under the desk, her body covered in blood. No telling what kind of dealing with she'd get. Beside me, Han Chuan frowned with a very serious look, showing clear signs of unease. Dian. I want to stay by your side, I said softly. Okay? She held my hand, thinking for a moment, then changed her mind. Then she turned to the woman and said word by word, Luo Chen is my husband. Even I feel I don't deserve him. Where did you get the nerve to think you're worthy of him? Yes, I know I'm wrong, President Sue. Please forgive me this time. I promise I'll never say anything stupid again. I was wrong. A mouthful of blood spat out from the woman's mouth, accompanied by a small white object. I looked closer. It was definitely a tooth. My husband is here, so I don't want to dwell on this too much. Go see a doctor. Send the medical bills to Han Chuan for payment. Saying that, she led me by the hand toward the office. Then tossed a line to Han Chuan. Fire her. Blacklist her from the industry. You handle the rest. Han Chuan understood and replied immediately. Yes. As soon as we entered the office, she let go of my hand and strode straight to her desk. I stood frozen, filled with confusion. Are you angry? Before I could say another word, she came around from behind the desk. A keyboard suddenly appeared in her hands. With a thud, she threw the keyboard down right in front of me. What does this mean? I looked at her, puzzled. Without a word, she knelt straight down onto that keyboard. Hands hanging by her sides, she said, I was wrong, Luo. This whole thing is my fault. It's because I didn't manage the company well, allowing such trash to exist here. I'm sorry. I hurriedly reached out to help her up. Seeing me still silent, her eyes suddenly turned red. Forgive me, Luo. You're angry with me, aren't you? I know I was wrong. If there's anything else I'm doing wrong, please tell me. I will fix it immediately. Just then, the office door was suddenly pushed open. Han Chuan spoke as he stepped inside. President Sue, regarding. Before he could fully enter, he saw Sue Sidian kneeling on a keyboard, pouting as if she was about to cry. Han Chuan stood stunned for a few seconds. Then, without daring to look back, he bolted outside, not forgetting to slam the door shut behind him. Inside the office, I explained while pulling her up.
Diane, I told you this isn't your fault. Hiring is the responsibility of the HR department.
Her rank and yours are worlds apart. It's normal that you didn't know about her. Hearing such an explanation, her heart felt somewhat lightened, but the insecurity still lingered in her heart. Luo really isn't mad at me. If I don't blame you, it means I'm not mad. And you won't abandon me because of this, right? I pointed a finger at my cheek. Diane, give me a kiss. She froze for a moment, but then she still obediently gave me a very gentle kiss. The moment her thin, cool lips touched my skin, I frowned slightly from the heartache. I patted her head. Smiling, I replied, see, I'm even letting you kiss me, right? So I won't ever leave you.
Never. For all eternity. It's best if you never do. Otherwise, everyone will die. She slowly stood up, and deep in her eyes flashed an extreme obsession. But it quickly returned to a calm state. Sichin, who did you learn this kneeling on a keyboard trick from? I smiled as I watched her reconnect the keyboard to the computer. I learned it from a friend of mine. She said there's no other way. She did something wrong after all. I'm the same. If I do something wrong, I have to kneel on the keyboard. But you couldn't bear to punish me. I can't become arrogant just because I'm pampered. Since you won't do it, I'll punish myself. If I don't learn my lesson this time, you might leave me when I mess up again.
Lu Chen, what do you think? Ryan, if I do something wrong, you just go ahead and punish me. I'll try to be the version of me that you love the most. She always connects every possible outcome to the idea of me leaving her. At this moment, I felt a bit awkward, and even more unsure of how to help her. I walked up to her, holding her hands tightly. Sichin, you don't need to turn into anyone else. I like you. I like everything about you. People should just be themselves in this life. If you're happy, then I'll be happy too. Thank you, Luo Chen. I understand now. As long as you stay by my side, anything is fine. Her state had returned to normal as before. Only then did I feel relieved enough to sit back on the swing. Seriously studying that email. Quickly finding a point I could exploit. Then I sent out a message. Check her company's books for me. I feel like something's off. It doesn't look like a real business. The other side replied quickly. Correct guess. Luo Chen, I have to say you've got a great head for business. Why not consider a career change? That way I can cooperate with you in the future. My eyes followed the rooftop of the opposite building. The way to make someone suffer the most isn't to kill them. It's to torment them. To make them wish they were dead. 4. First, take away the thing most important to them. What does a selfish person like her care about the most? The corners of my mouth curled up slightly. One hand rested on the swing frame, planning a scheme in my head. Luo Chen. Su Siqian's voice sounded from behind. It startled me, making my hands shake. My phone fell straight to the ground. I panicked and reached down to pick it up. Unexpectedly, she was one step faster and grabbed it. Then she handed it to me. What's wrong, Siqian? You. She didn't answer. She just stared at me. Why aren't you saying anything? I slowly stood up. She smiled and shook her head. It's nothing. In just finished with work. Let's go have lunch. What would you like to eat? Whatever you want, anything is fine. I'm actually quite hungry. I put down the bag of snacks, held her hand, and walked out. Actually, Su Setian originally intended to eat at a restaurant. But after reconsidering, she led me to the executive cafeteria of the company. Although it wasn't very crowded, even so, all the company's management would see me. Less than a day later, everyone would know this is CEO 2's husband. She peeled the shrimp and put them in a clean bowl, then pushed it toward me. After picking out the grapes and kiwis from the fruit salad, she said, "Let me tell the kitchen. Don't put these in the salad next time." I watched her actions, completely confused. How did you know I don't eat grapes and kiwis? Sutian, sometimes I feel that you understand me even more than I imagined. Isn't it good to understand you? That way I can take good care of you. See, isn't that how it is now? Luo Chen, you just eat. Leave everything else to me. Although everything seemed normal, I still felt like something was wrong. However, as several consecutive days passed like this, my suspicious thoughts also faded away. Captain Jiang also sent me a message, confirming that the case was closed. I had intended to go find Fo Vu to discuss the next part of the plan. But under Su Sitian's persistent pleading, I agreed to attend. The opening party of a company I didn't even know. Among a sea of elegant formal wear, I chose the simplest white suit. The two of us had just appeared at the hall.
when a woman walked straight toward us. She was wearing a crimson dress. Her walk was incredibly flamboyant, especially the diamond brooch on her chest. I recognized it. That was the final auction item. It was at an auction earlier this year. Its value was not small at all. As Su Siqian drew closer, I got a clear look at her face. Her skin was indeed quite pale. Those with phoenix eyes always have a seductive charm. Su Siqian looked at her with an expression of intense disgust. Her eyes were full of contempt. She turned her face away. Hey, don't treat me like that. Look at how enthusiastic I am. If you won't respond, that's one thing. But to act all disdainful, are you even human? After saying that, she looked me over, then nodded in greeting. Luo Chen, right? Are you that Luo Chen? Su Siqian finally spoke up to introduce me. Yes, this is Luo Chen. He is my husband now, completely legal. Then she turned to me. This is Mo Jinshen. I mentioned her to you once before. She's the general manager of Dong Luke Group. Her father is the chairman of the board. Mo Jinshen reached out her hand to me, seriously introducing herself. My name is Mo Jinshen. It's exactly the 3 words you're thinking of. By the way, I'm not the type of rich kid who just leeches off her parents. I'm a very hard worker too. And I'm Su Siqian's best friend. Her only friend. It's not easy for someone like her to have a friend. You understand? Su Siqian stared coldly at my hand being held, straining every word. If you don't let go, I will chop off your claws. It's just a light handshake. Is that really necessary? This was the opening party for Dongluke Group. As the host, Mo Jin-chun, naturally didn't have time for a long chat with us. She just said a few polite words and left. Su Siqian led me to the dessert counter to pick some food. Luo Chen, this dark chocolate cake looks good. Let me taste it first. If it's too sweet, then never mind. If it's not too sweet, you can have a piece. She took a bite and put it straight into her mouth, then quietly put the fork down. Mo Jin-chun's taste is awful. Which company made this dessert table anyway? How can they even serve this to people? Scythian, you eat sweets too? I thought. All you CEOs could survive on morning dew alone. I teased her. But on occasions like this, it was inevitable that she had to entertain guests. I could only wander around the hall by myself. Just then, a young man walked toward me. As soon as he saw me, he asked in a rather loud voice, "What's your relationship with Su Scythian? I just saw you two walk in arm. I stared at him blankly. He didn't look familiar at all. Moreover, he looked quite young. He might not even be an adult yet. In situations like this, it's best to stay silent. Who knows if the other person is friend or foe? Who are you? My apologies. I forgot to introduce myself. My surname is Su. My name is Su Bu-yu. I'm Su Si-chan's biological younger brother. I guess you've never heard her mention me, have you? She's always like that. I was stunned. I really didn't know. That Su Si-chan actually had a younger brother. But her parents had divorced when she was very young. Butler Chu said her mother had gone abroad. Even if she remarried, she shouldn't have come back to the country. So this brother must be her father's son. You and Su Si-chan share the same father, right? I asked casually. Su Bu-yu gave me a thumbs up. Smart. You must have analyzed that yourself. Su Si-chan wouldn't tell you these things. Your brother-in-law Luo Chen, right? I've heard about you for a long time. Yet another person who knew me. While I had no idea who they were. I raised an eyebrow and nodded. Yes. Well, pity. I told her the person Su Si-chan likes must definitely be handsome, and must also be very outstanding. Sure enough. It's just such a shame. To think a good man like you would marry her. I feel sorry for you too. Sorry for me? I chuckled. No need for your pity. Luo Chen and I have already registered our marriage. You can call him brother-in-law now. Su Si-chan suddenly appeared out of nowhere and said. The smile on Su Bai's face vanished instantly. Sister, why did you come over here? I'm here to keep brother-in-law company. That's enough. You go ahead and take care of your business. If he didn't truly want to see with his own eyes, this legendary brother-in-law, he wouldn't have dared to appear in front of Su Si-chan even if he were beaten to death, although he really wanted to be close to this sister. She always put on a cold face, as if she was about to kill someone in the next second. This had terrified Su Bu-yu since he was a child. This fear was etched into his bones, making him shiver just thinking about it. Su Si-chan placed both hands on my shoulders,
gently saying, Luo Chen, this is my father's child. His name is Su Buyu. If he bullies you, you must tell me. In our Su family, including me, no one is allowed to bully you. Su Buyu, standing beside us, heard this and was frightened, muttering in a low voice, didn't. Only then did I smile and explain. Buyu just came to greet me. He's not bullying me. We hadn't even said a few words before you came over. Su Sichin then turned her head. It was just that cold gaze. It made Su Buyu instinctively take a step back in fear. Sister, I really didn't. The whole family. Everyone knows brother-in-law is your precious treasure. Who would dare bully him? I wouldn't have the guts. The more they talk like that, the greater the curiosity in my heart became. I definitely had to ask Su Sichin properly after the party. Why on earth everyone knew me? Su Sichin finally nodded in satisfaction. All right? Then take good care of your brother-in-law. There are quite a few people who want to talk to me today. I'm afraid I won't be able to keep an eye on him for a while. He doesn't like those people, but he seems to quite like you. Su Buyu nodded repeatedly. Don't worry, sister. I'll take great care of brother-in-law. On the other side, people began walking towards Su Sichin again. She hurriedly instructed me. Remember what I said. If anyone makes you unhappy, just curse them to their face. I'll take care of everything. Even if the sky falls, I'll hold it up for you. Just don't let yourself be unhappy. Don't worry. I nodded. Just come find me when you're finished. I lowered my head to play with my phone. Another message from Fovu arrived. Let's meet in a day or two. I've arranged the news matters. The next step depends on you. I quickly replied with a like icon. Scrolling for a bit, I felt like it through short videos. I used to think those hot girls wore very provocative clothes, but now that I see Su Sichin's figure, I truly feel that no one in the world is more beautiful than her, and no one's figure is as perfect. I clicked my tongue softly and quietly put the phone away. You still have the same terrible taste as ever. I was startled, looking up in the direction of the voice. Liu Ruyan, you can even get into places like this. Are you kidding? Liu Ruyan shrugged with her uncasted arm. I had no choice. I was invited, see? Actually, no one had invited her. But the Mo family had invited Shen Fuguang. It was just that last time Shen Fuguang was so angry he choked, and was still bedridden. Liu Ruyan took the opportunity to bring the invitation here. I smiled, leaning back in the chair to observe the woman in front of me. You're right. My taste is indeed so bad it stinks. Tell me, back then, why didn't I look at good people, but instead threw myself at a green tea like you? Instantly, Liu Ruyan's face turned from green to pale. When did you become like this? Every time you open your mouth, it's nothing but filthy words. Luo Chen, if you don't change, you'll definitely be the one suffering in the end. I gave her a look of contempt. I didn't realize before how much you like to lecture people. I don't know where you get your confidence from. Saying dirty words doesn't make the mouth dirty. If I swallowed them, then the filth would be in my heart. Miss Liu, you and I aren't close at all. Talking so much to a married man like me isn't very appropriate. Besides, aren't you about to get engaged? If your fiancé saw this, he'd surely misunderstand. Don't end up with nothing in the end. I pulled out my phone again impatiently, looking at the chat interface. Su Sichin definitely wouldn't message me, but this time I missed her. Thinking of this, I slowly turned my head, intending to take a secret peek, only to be met immediately by her eyes as cold as ice. I was stunned, not knowing if it was a coincidence, or if she had been watching me all along. But her gaze was not friendly at all. She looked like she was boiling with anger. And Liu Ruyan didn't notice my reaction at all. She only thought I was angry. So she leaned down, softly coaxing. The thing between me and Shen Fang was unavoidable. He refused to get engaged to me. Your father had no choice but to let Shen Fang marry me. Actually, in my heart, I've always loved you. Don't you know that? Besides, we've been childhood sweethearts since we were little. Stop, I flatly interrupted her. We weren't close as children. I had no idea who you were. We just met a few times at school. Moreover, who you love has nothing to do with me. The only one in my heart is Su Sichin. It's best if you don't appear before me again. If you can't remember that, then look down at that broken arm of yours. I stood up abruptly. Just as I was about to leave, Liu Ruyan grabbed my wrist tightly. I flung her hand off and slapped her right across the face. A crisp slap sound rang out. Not only was Liu Ruyan stunned, but even Su Sichin, who could kill with a look, was stunned. Liu Ruyan, if you touch me one more time, I'll chop off your claws. Instead of spending time clinging to others like this, you better go see how much longer your company has to live. Without waiting for Liu Ruyan to react, I walked quickly towards Su Sichin, approaching her, but at this moment I felt regret. I wondered if that sentence of mine had accidentally caught Liu Ruyan's attention. I couldn't let her suspect anything. Otherwise, all my efforts would go down the drain. Seeing me walk toward her, Su Siqian stood up immediately, saying to the person across from her, "Director Tae, I'm so sorry. I feel very regretful about the project. Well, set another date to talk in detail later. It's getting late now. I have to take my husband home." She walked quickly toward me, then snuggled right into my chest, wrapping her arms around my waist. Rested my chin on her head, softly explaining, "Siqian, you saw that, right? I only said a few words to her. Besides, I really hate her now. Do you understand?" "I understand. Luo Chen only has me in his heart, no one else. I saw you hit her." Su Siqian's arms hugged me even tighter. She added another sentence. "Well hit. But next time, Luo Chen can just say it directly. Don't hit her yourself. It will get your hands dirty. Leave things like that to me next time." I hit harder. Liu Ruyan clenched her fists, wishing she could hit back right then. But she was no match for Su Siqian. Her arm already hurt. Seeing Su Siqian made it hurt even more. "Liu Ruyan, didn't I warn you to stay away from my husband? You're asking for death yourself." Su Siqian narrowed her eyes, her dark pupils, radiating a clear murderous intent. She hugged me and said gently, "Luo Chen, let's go home. I only came to show support for Mo Jinshin. This is enough." Hearing her say that, Liu Ruyan finally breathed a sigh of relief, although she still wasn't satisfied, still feeling that Luo Chen should have belonged to her, but there was nothing she could do. Just as we reached the door, I looked at Su Siqian doubtfully. "What are you planning to do to her? Don't mess up my plan. I have my own arrangements for this." Su Siqian's footsteps stopped. Her face immediately turned as cold as usual. The loneliness in her eyes was unconcealed. "Then what do you want me to do? Or should I not do anything at all?" "Siqian, I'm not stopping you from doing something to her. I just want to do it myself. Trust me this once. I really don't have any feelings for her anymore. But I don't want her to die either. That kind of person must be kept alive, to taste every hardship. I know you can help me, but there are many things I still want to do myself." These words made Su Siqian's uneasy heart gradually calm down. She nodded seriously, giving me her hand. "I know, Luo Chen. Does this side of me make you feel tired? Actually, I try to talk sense into myself many times, but the effect isn't very good. But don't worry, I'll get better. Give me a little more time, okay?" Previously, Su Siqian absolutely refused treatment. She never thought she had any psychological problem. Those so-called psychologists were just a bunch of money-grubbing frauds. But now it was different. If she didn't face her problems, she was afraid Luo Chen would soon get tired of her. What if one day she really hurt him? If she only sought treatment then, it really would be too late. Just as we stepped out onto the sidewalk, another car and Su Siqian's car stopped at the same time. A man in a gray suit got out from the back and was walking toward them, greeting them with a bright smile. "Siqian, what a coincidence. I didn't see you in the hall just now. Are you heading back already?" Su Siqian turned around, looking slightly surprised. Then she showed clear impatience, only giving a slight nod. Without answering, the man continued, "Siqian, I haven't seen you at the company lately. Are you very busy? There's a class reunion next week. Everyone insisted that I invite you no matter what. They all said no one else could manage to invite you, but since we have such a deep friendship, they all told me to come and try. Will you do me the honor?" My foot, about to step into the car, paused. I slowly pulled it back and stood next to Su Siqian. Observing this man, he was tall. His appearance was quite good. The man took a look at Luo Chen, gave a slightly awkward smile, then turned to introduce himself to me. "Hello. I am Siqian's classmate. My name is Gao Wen. He is my husband." Su Siqian suddenly gripped my hand tightly. She looked at Gao Wen and said, "A class reunion? I won't be attending. I don't have time lately. I need to stay by my husband's side. I am so sorry. Please excuse us, we are heading home now." Even so, Su Siqian's reaction seemed no different from usual. But deep in her eyes, a flicker of rage flashed by. I was a bit confused. Logically speaking, if it were just a classmate, a simple refusal would suffice. Why was there a need to be this angry? And as for that Gao Wen, the way he looked at Su Siqian was incredibly intense. When Su Siqian said I was her husband, Gao Wen was clearly stunned, and it was evident that he was heartbroken. At the hotel entrance, Mo Jinshuan ran toward us, while shouting loudly, "Don't go. Don't leave yet, Su Siqian, what's the rush?" When she caught up, she was also stunned. "Gao Wen, when did you return to the country? How did you know Su Sichin was here? Wait a minute, what are you trying to do? She reached out her hand to pull him back, but Gao Wen immediately brushed her off. Let me talk to Sichin. She said she's married. That's not the truth, is it? I've only been gone for 2 years. How could she be married already? Why? Gao Wen's emotions were no longer as calm as before. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked like he was about to burst into tears. Su Sichin, tell me this is a lie, right? You're only doing this to spite me, aren't you? How could you possibly be married?
It turns out the relationship between these two is anything but simple. I only whispered one sentence. You'll get in the car first. Tian, handle this yourself. I didn't know how Su Sitian would handle this. Nor did I know what their relationship used to be. Or if it was because Gao Wen went abroad that Su Sitian started liking me. But I was certain of one thing. The current Su Sitian would definitely never leave me for anyone. The past can be completely ignored. After all, it is already behind us. Gao Wen suddenly raised his voice. Su Sitian, is it because I came back too late? If only I had come back a little sooner. Then there certainly wouldn't be a place for him, would there? Look closely. This gentleman actually looks a bit like me, doesn't he? Not at all. Su Sitian responded coldly with only 3 words. Mo Jinxuan's voice was full of apology. Su Sitian, I really didn't invite him. I didn't even know he had returned to the country. Given your past relationship, how could I possibly have invited him here? Gao Wen glanced at the person sitting in the car. He unwillingly continued, Not at all? I'm sorry, Sitian. It was my fault back then. Can you stop making a scene? Let's stop tormenting each other. I quietly sat back inside the car. I casually closed the car door. Standing outside, Su Sitian was terrified. She pounded urgently on the car door. Aluo! There's absolutely nothing between him and me. Don't listen to their nonsense.
Nothing ever happened between us. I just sat there silently. I didn't even bother to turn my head and look. The car door was tightly locked. She couldn't get in right now. She pointed her finger at Gao Wen and spoke each word clearly to Mo Jinxuan. Do he and I have any kind of relationship? Was there ever a relationship? If you say that, my husband will misunderstand. Gao Wen, you better never show your face in front of me again. You and I couldn't then. And we certainly can't now. I am already married. The person in that car is my husband. He is the only one I will ever love in this life. Mo Jinxuan grabbed Gao Wen's arm and shoved him into another car. Seeing him refusing to leave, she warned him in a low voice, I'm telling you. Leave now, while Su Sitian hasn't completely lost it yet. Otherwise, you know exactly what the consequences will be. The threat was indeed effective. As expected, Gao Wen yielded to Mo Jinxuan's urging and sat in the car. When Mo Jinxuan returned to Su Sitian's side, she saw that her face was terrifyingly pale. Her whole body was trembling uncontrollably. What's wrong with you? Is it out of anger or fear? She looked in the direction Su Sitian was staring. Inside the car, I still just sat there in silence, quietly staring down at my own fingers, as if I felt nothing at all. Mo Jinxuan immediately realized Luo Chen had misunderstood, and Su Sitian was absolutely terrified. She hurriedly tapped on the car window, shouting my name, Luo Chen! You've misunderstood her. That Gao Wen guy between them. It's not the kind of relationship you're thinking of. I let out a soft sigh. No matter what happens, I have to fight for myself. I love Su Sitian. I can't just stand by and watch someone else take her away. I reached out and pressed the button to unlock the car. When I got out, I realized Gao Wen had already left. Turning back, I caught Su Sitian's tear-filled eyes. Her tears overflowed uncontrollably, and then she began frantically slapping her own face. Have you lost your mind? Su Sitian, stop this right now. Do you know how many people are inside? If they see this, do you have no shame at all? Reached out to try and stop her, but she violently brushed my hand away. She reached up and squeezed her own throat tightly. If she couldn't make a sound, then her aluo would leave her forever. I'm sorry. The sound finally broke through, but it was very faint. So faint it was almost just a breath. Without listening closely, one wouldn't hear it at all. Su Sitian was in so much pain she could barely breathe. Her hand tightened more and more, and then, slap after slap, she struck her own face with great force. Blood began to trickle from the corner of her mouth. My attempts to stop her had almost no effect.
She didn't hold back at all, slapping herself in a total frenzy. Mo Jin-shuen watched the scene before her in shock. Her mind went completely blank.
Stop her, will you? My shout brought Mo Jin-shuen back to her senses. She hurriedly joined me, holding Su Siqian's arms down firmly. I cupped her face with both my hands, forcing her to look into my eyes. Tian, listen to me. No matter what has happened, or what you want to do, we can always talk it through and resolve it. Is that right? She absorbed every word I said, but my heart still throbbed with pain. The moment she saw my eyes filling with tears, only one thought remained in her head. She wanted to end her own life, because she had made A. Luo feel sad and tormented. A person like me. What right do I have to ask to be by his side in peace? If you understand, then nod. Tian is the best girl.
Don't scare me. She nodded instantly. Gently breaking free from Mo Jin-swen's hold, she raised her arm to wipe the blood from the corner of her lips. Tears flooded her face. No sooner were they wiped than they poured out again. She eventually just gave up, decidedly not bothering to wipe them anymore. I pulled open the car door, holding Su Siqian's body. Let's get in the car and talk. In a moment, everyone will see us when they come out. Be good, Su Siqian. Like a machine, she sat in the car with an unusual level of obedience. Only her hands still tightly gripped the hem of my shirt. No matter what was said, she refused to let go. Miss Mo, sorry for the trouble. Tian's mood isn't great right now. Please excuse us, we'll head off first. Mo Jin-shuen was still in a daze. She only nodded instinctively. She couldn't utter another word. The CEO's driver certainly knew how to read the situation. Seeing the situation outside through the rearview mirror, he had quietly raised the soundproof partition. I closed the car door, taking Su Siqian's hand, but I said nothing, just looked at her in silence. She covered her face with her hands. Her shoulders were shaking incessantly. Tears spilled out between her fingers. In a moment, she was crying silently. I'm sorry. I pulled out some tissues to wipe the tears from her face. Looking at her and nodding seriously. Don't cry, take your time speaking. I'm listening. Perhaps my gentle comfort
eased Su Siqian's anxiety somewhat. She tried to control her trembling voice and her chaotic thoughts. Between sobs, she explained, That Gao-won, he and I were university classmates. He has pursued me for many years. But I never liked him at all. I rejected him every single time. Because our families have known each other since our parents' generation. So, many people assumed we would eventually become a couple. But I never, ever thought that way. I pulled her into my arms. Only then did I realize her whole body had gone stiff. Even though the crying had gradually stopped, her body still wouldn't stop shaking. I'm sorry, Tian. It's because I didn't trust you enough. I believe there's nothing between you and Gao-wen. Stop being sad, okay? I tilted my head down, lifting her chin up, gently placing a kiss on her lips. After returning home, perhaps because she was truly frightened out of her wits, Su Siqian started finding all sorts of reasons, making every excuse to cling to me, following me 24 hours a day. Even when I went to the bathroom, she would stand waiting right at the door. I was alone in the bathroom, secretly sending a text reply to Fu Yu. How about this? Let's meet this afternoon. I quickly replied to the message and had to get out fast. Door. It was already the third time I saw Su Siqian's silhouette through it. If I didn't come out soon, she would definitely knock. Just as I thought that. Sure enough, she tapped gently on the door, asking in a low voice, Aluo, do you need me to help with anything? Why have you been in there so long? What are you doing in there? While washing my hands, I shouted back, Cooking! What else would I be doing in the bathroom? I threw that question back at her. Cooking? Are you hungry? She continued to interrogate me. I quickly dried my hands. The moment the door opened, Su Siqian lost her balance and tumbled right into my arms. I hurriedly caught her, smiling at her. I'm not hungry. Isn't it because I'm worried you're hungry? Let me cook a meal for you. She became strangely serious again, obsessing over what exactly I was doing, that required cooking in a bathroom. At noon, Su Siqian prepared a meal along with the chef. Even though she didn't know how to cook, but she planned to start learning from now on, starting with the simplest task, cooking rice. In her imagination, these things were probably very difficult. But when she actually started doing it, she realized, it turns out it's just washing the rice until it's clean, then putting it in the rice cooker. Based on the principle of applying one rule to others, she thought cooking food was also just washing the vegetables, then tossing them into the pan. However, dreams are always rosy, while reality gives you a painful slap.
After burning the food time and time again, she finally gave up on her goal of being self-taught. After a while of struggling, finally, only the dishes cooked by the chef were edible. When I sat down at the dining table, the dishes had already been served. After finishing the meal, in the afternoon she arranged for a driver to take me out, while she herself went into the study. Han Xuan had changed the original meeting to an online one. She saw that she was free, so she agreed. The car slowly pulled up in front of the coffee shop. Before even stepping inside, I saw a young man sitting by the window. He was tall, monolid eyes paired with a high-bridge nose. He exuded a handsome aura. It was Fu Yu. I called out and sat down opposite him. He took a stack of documents from his bag and handed them to me. Take a look. Do you have a plan?
Follow me.
Then we both got into the car. I took out my phone and showed him the files in the inbox. Oh my god! Fuyu's eyes were glued to my phone screen. He couldn't help but exclaim in shock. What kind of trick did you use? You even dug up their company's accounting books. Are you serious? I shrugged. Isn't it too simple? It's very simple. Who do you think I am? I have to admit, you're truly sinister. A Luo. What on earth did this Liu Ruyan do to offend you two? What you're doing is like killing without a knife. It hits right at the core. You probably won't believe me if I tell you. She owes me a life. I pursed my lips, opened the car door, and stepped out. However, those words left Fu Yu stunned. He walked around the car and grabbed me tightly. His face was extremely tense. Tell me the truth. What exactly is going on? Did you and she have a relationship? Why is there a life involved here? Luo Chen, if you dare hide anything from me, then I will break your legs, and then lock you up. Don't think for a second I'm joking. I know, rest assured, the grudge between her and me is from a past life. As for having a relationship with her, just thinking about it makes me nauseous. That's absolutely impossible. Speaking of which, I suddenly remembered something. In my past life when I passed away, at the funeral, almost everyone was present, yet there was absolutely no sign of the Fu Yu police brothers.
So what on earth were they doing at that time?
My death was full of such strange and mysterious circumstances. Given Fu Yu's personality, he absolutely wouldn't have let it go without investigating. Updated. It's updated. Silently praying for episode 8 of Don't Cry to finally be released. A little while later, I was at Liu Ruyan's company. Fu Yu followed the proper procedure, showing his ID to the receptionist. Then we were both invited into the general manager's office. Liu Ruyan's company was actually quite large in scale. This whole floor was estimated to be thousands of square meters. She hadn't even walked in yet, but her voice echoed in before her. I heard the receptionist say that a handsome police officer came looking for me. Let me see. The moment she saw me, the smile on her face vanished instantly. After a brief moment of confusion, she regained her composure and continued. May I ask, what is the police doing at my place? It's nothing, I smiled. Introducing to Liu Ruyan. This is my friend Fu Yu. We plan to go grab some coffee. It just so happens that the shop is in the mall nearby, so I dropped by to visit you on the way. After all, aren't you about to get engaged to my younger brother? Even though Liu Ruyan was a bit foolish, she also realized that this smile of mine was not simple at all. She sat down on the opposite sofa, crossed her legs, and gave a light, cold chuckle. A hint of arrogance appeared in her voice. Luo Chen, do you regret marrying Su Sishan now? Are you planning to introduce this police officer to me? As for that, I don't really have any objections. It's just that, after all, I still have feelings for you. 4. Fu Yu interrupted her in a deep voice and turned to ask me, Little Luo, how did her arm get broken like that? I also lowered my voice and replied, my wife broke it, because she dared to point her finger at me. Liu Ruyan was even more embarrassed hearing this. Confusion immediately clouded her face. I saw that the timing was about right, so I called Fu Yu. Let's go. You must be hungry since you haven't eaten, right? Of course I am. I only had a cup of coffee this noon. I've been waiting for you all afternoon without a single bite to eat. If I keep being this hungry, I'll fail the upcoming physical test. We chatted as we walked out together. Throughout the whole time, we almost completely ignored Liu Ruyan. She stood stunned in the office, turned to her secretary, and shrugged in total confusion. What exactly is the meaning of this? Sitting back in the car, Fu Yu held the photos he just received in front of me. Look at them. Satisfied? In the photo was someone wearing a police uniform, presenting documents at the reception of the Liu group. The young receptionist was also very cooperative, showing a look of utter terror. Send them to me. Let me post this news. With your status, it's best if you don't get involved in this. I spoke in a low voice. The smile on my face also vanished immediately. This is only a part of my plan. I have to take action on everything myself. Fuyu's position is very sensitive. If this matter ends up affecting him, then it would truly do more harm than good. I didn't go to eat. After taking Fuyu back to the police station, I went straight home. Those photos. Even though most of the shots were of Fuyu, some of them still caught a glimpse of me. So to be safe, I need to inform Su Sitian about this. Otherwise, if she sees that I went to Liu Ruyen's company, she will definitely be so angry she'll explode. Actually, my part could be edited out using technical methods. But the moment I saw those photos,
another plan immediately sprang to mind. Just as I got home, I noticed Butler Ju's expression was a bit off. Uncle Ju, why are you looking at me with those eyes? Where's Tian Tian? Has she still not let you turn on the AC? Butler Ju's facial expressions shifted unpredictably. He pointed toward the study, then guiltily replied, "The young lady is in a meeting." "When did the meeting start? Do you know how long it will last?" "Ever since you left, the young lady has been in meetings continuously until now. I'm not sure when it will end either." After answering, the butler stepped back a few paces, then quickly left the living room. "Ever since I left, so she didn't sleep at all. Didn't she promise for sure that she would take a nap?"
I raised my hand to check my watch. So she's been sitting in this meeting for 4 whole hours? What kind of meeting could last this long? I knocked directly on the study door. From inside came a cold, distant voice. "Uncle Joe, I'm in a meeting. If there's anything, let's talk later." I didn't reply, but instead, I directly pushed the door open and entered. I peered toward the desk. She was still wearing her usual standard black suit. The difference was that she was now wearing a pair of thin, gold-rimmed glasses and was staring intently at the computer screen. "Uncle Joe," she called out impatiently, but still didn't lift her head. When she realized the person who entered was me, she was startled. Immediately stood up from her chair. "I'm sorry."
"Aluo, I didn't know you were back." I didn't say a word, only signaled toward the computer with my hand. Mouthed the question to her. "In a meeting?" "Yes, I'm in a meeting." She nodded seriously. Then she turned to the computer screen and said, "I'm so sorry. My husband is back. Let's end today's meeting here. If there's anything urgent, please contact Hong Chuan." "Tian Tian, you don't need to." Before the explanation could even finish, she walked directly up to me, anxiously observing my face. "I'm sorry, Aluo. I really didn't know it was you knocking, so my attitude just now was a bit poor. Please don't be mad at me. If you're unhappy, should I take out the keyboard and kneel on it for 2 hours?" I smiled and shook my head. Reached out and gently touched her glasses. "Tian Tian, are you nearsighted?" After asking, I suddenly remembered that Su Siqian always had very good eyesight from the start. She didn't seem nearsighted at all, so I teased her instead. "Don't tell me you're farsighted." "Aluo." She looked incredulous and hurriedly adjusted her glasses, seriously explaining, "I'm not even 30 yet. How could I be farsighted already? These are just eye protection glasses, because I have to stare at the computer screen all the time. I'm already older than you, and just worry I'll age quickly, so I have to protect my eyesight a bit." Having said that, she threw her arms wide and hugged me tightly. "I miss you so much. You were only gone for a short while."
But can you feel that I'm always thinking of you? I mean it. Even I feel like I might be sick. When you're not around, my heart is always restless and anxious. It's not just empty words. I am truly terrified. My palms are even sweating. I stroked her head. "Have you not slept at all this whole time? Didn't you promise me when I left that you would take a nap?" However, she slowly let go. Her eyes dropped down in apology, looking absolutely pitiful. She bowed her head in regret, softly explained, "I really intended to sleep at first, but Han Chuan told me to join a meeting for a bit. Unexpectedly, one thing after another just kept coming. I don't feel very sleepy either, so..." She timidly reached out her finger to hook. Hook onto my finger. I was wrong. "I'm going to sleep right now. Ah, Luo, I really didn't mean to break my promise. I also didn't expect time to pass so quickly. I'm sorry, Ah Luo. Are you angry with me?" She was so terrified that she slumped to her knees, right at my feet. "I'm sorry, I said I would listen. Yet in the end, I still couldn't do it. You told me to go to sleep, but here I am, sitting in a meeting. I was wrong." She turned her palms up and held them out to me. "Hit me. Ah, Luo, after you hit me, I'll go to sleep right away." I slowly crouched down,
Then I took her hand and pressed it against my chest. I'm not angry at all. You must understand that I'm just like you.
Think about it if I were the one refusing to go to sleep. Would it break your heart?
Tsundere nodded vigorously. Yes, it would. So if you don't sleep, my heart aches just as much. Be good, stand up. Let me take you back to the bedroom, okay? I helped her up. As we walked out of the study hand in hand, Butler Zhou stood silently in the living room, observing. The expression on his face was deeply meaningful. After returning to the bedroom, I tucked her in carefully. Then I pulled a small table over and placed my laptop on it. Didion, go to sleep. I need to go through some documents. There's a notice in the group that I have to go to the station tomorrow. There's a special case that requires a forensic sketch. I have to look into it first. She lay very obediently on the bed. Her hands were interlaced over her stomach. Her eyes were tightly shut. One could clearly see her thick, slightly curled eyelashes. After finishing the research on related documents, I sent the news draft I had prepared to the major media platforms. The hired internet water army received the news and began frantically sharing and commenting. Public opinion exploded online immediately. Some people even started to suspect Liu Ruiyan's company. What kind of business was it really doing? Even the police showed up at their door. The number of posts kept increasing. Less than an hour later, Liu Ruiyan sent me a message, but she couldn't send it because she has always been on my blacklist. The Liu family's company doesn't have a PR team, so naturally, they didn't know how to respond. Liu Ruiyan immediately posted a statement, saying that I and her friend only went to the company to hang out, asking netizens not to pay too much attention. But the truth was exposed immediately. Everyone wondered if it was just for fun. Then why did they register at the front desk with a police ID? Looking at the phone ringing on the table, I silently pressed decline, then turned it off completely. I didn't even need to guess. This call from Dad was to tell me to come forward and clarify. I didn't plan on doing anything so soon. Let her suffer for a while, to see if she has any more tricks up her sleeve. Things dragged on until the evening. I saw the clarification Shen Fang posted. The gist of it was that the officer was a friend of his older brother. He wasn't there on official business. He just happened to drop by for a visit, conveniently. He also posted a screenshot from the company's security camera. In the image, it was indeed me and someone in a police uniform, entering the elevator one after the other, and also stepping out of the elevator at the same time. Seeing the online storm gradually dying down, my finger moved slightly. I pressed the button to send the statement I just drafted. The real show is only just beginning. I closed my laptop, leaned back in the chair, and slowly closed my eyes. Actually, I'm not that keen on revenge. Compared to that, I should spend more time on Tsundere, but scum like Liu Ruiyan truly doesn't deserve to enjoy such good social resources. Garbage should be put in its proper place. I turned on my phone and quickly switched it to airplane mode. Just as I put the phone down, Tsundere, lying on the bed, slightly narrowed her eyes. As soon as she opened her eyes, she fumbled around looking for me. I sat down by the bedside, leaned my face against her so that she could hold me. But unexpectedly, she threw off the blanket and pulled me inside to sleep with her. Early the next morning, Tsundere said there was an emergency at the company. She rushed off to work before even having breakfast. I scrolled through my phone while eating. The video I posted yesterday. Comment section below has exploded. Before, when I planned to get engaged to Liu Ruiyan, I was deceived by her under the guise of an investment, leading me to lend her a large sum of money. The announcement I posted yesterday implied that I went there to demand my money back. That's why, early this morning, the Liu family's company was surrounded by partners and banks to the point that not even an ant could crawl through. Liu Ruiyan didn't show her face at the company at all. Everything unfolded exactly as I predicted. Her company is actually just an empty shell. If the banks start calling in the debts, she certainly won't be able to scrounge up enough money. The company going bankrupt is the least of her worries. She's about to go to jail and eat free meals. Thinking about this, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. But this is only the first step. With Liu Ruiyan's silver-tongued manipulative skills, she will definitely try to swindle my father and Shen Fang again. Those two idiots might just fall for it again. I was just about to wonder why my phone was so quiet. Turns out it's because airplane mode was still on. As soon as I turned it off, messages started flooding in frantically. Most were from Dad and Shen Fang. Among them were a few from Captain Zhang. Teacher Luo, why was your phone turned off? Remember to come early. Teacher Luo, have you left yet? It's an extreme emergency. Please respond to this message as soon as possible. I glanced at the time, hurriedly put down what I was holding, changed my clothes, and dashed straight out. Butler Joe chased after me, chasing and calling out to me at the same time. The young lady asked you to call her back. I didn't have time to wait for the driver, so I stepped on the gas and drove off myself. On the way, I called Captain Jang 3 times, but he didn't pick up. Once I arrived at the station, I noticed the atmosphere was even more tense than last time, especially Captain Jang, who had just stepped out of the interrogation room. His face was darkened and very grim. He was holding the interrogation records
and slammed them down on the table. When he looked up and saw my apologetic face, he barked out even more irritably. "Why are you only arriving now?" See, angry again. Normally, he'd call me Teacher Luo every other sentence. Once he's mad, he uses my full name. "Captain, look at the time. Arriving at this time can hardly be called being late. Why are you so hot-headed? Isn't the case already closed? Don't tell me there's another murder case. One every month?" Captain Jiang shook his head at me sternly. Then he emphasized every word. "Your sketch has a problem. The person we caught is absolutely not the killer. He confessed everything during the last interrogation. Furthermore, he has an alibi." "Impossible!" I quickly flipped through my notebook,
Pulled out the sketch, pointed at the drawing and asked, "Is this the person you arrested? If you are certain the one arrested is this person, then my sketch is absolutely flawless. Everything was drawn based on your witness accounts and image data from cameras." I sat down on the chair, feeling suspicious gazes being cast upon me from all around, but I still firmly believe that I didn't make a mistake. I've been a criminal profiler and sketch expert for a long time. There's absolutely no way I could have made a mistake in this field. How about this? I'll draw it again. Previous interrogations were all recorded. I'll listen to the tapes and start over from scratch. If there's even a single point of difference, I will admit it was my fault. I stood up immediately, grabbed my bag, and walked straight toward the meeting room. Captain Jang brought all the materials I needed and placed them all on the table for me. "Go ahead and check them yourself first. My side still has to continue the investigation, so I don't have time," and heading out. I didn't look up, focusing intently on the old files. But before starting the work, I still sent a message to Tsundere, telling her that I might be busy for the next few hours, if I can't answer the phone right away. Then don't worry, but unlike other times, I didn't receive any response at all. The phone remained unusually silent until noon when Captain Jang walked in. His face was still very grim, but he was carrying a boxed meal in his hand. "Eat something. Failing to solve the case is our responsibility. A sketch expert is only there to assist the investigation. This happened too suddenly. Besides, this guy is truly too cruel. That's why I was a bit impatient. Teacher Luo, I'm sorry. I had an inappropriate attitude this morning." I waved my hand to show it was fine, then cleared the papers scattered on the table. "It's okay. I understand you guys are very anxious. I'm also doing my best here." Captain Jang handed me the lunchbox, then sat down beside me to eat together. "Look, this enthusiastic citizen who sent the food might be someone who's pursuing you. Last time you came, that person also sent food. Same this time. There's no way it's such a coincidence. I agree with the extra nourishment, but it's definitely sent by the same person." My hand held the chopsticks, poking repeatedly at the rice bowl. It felt as if my heart was covered by a thin layer of paper, unable to see through to the scene ahead. I frowned slightly, tilted my head slightly to one side, and asked softly, "What did you just say?" Captain Jang laughed and repeated, "I said this enthusiastic citizen who sent the meal. Is it someone who's pursuing you?" No, not that sentence. I pointed to his last sentence. Finally, Captain Jang muttered, "I agree with the extra nourishment. It's definitely sent by the same person." Is it this sentence? Yes, it's exactly this sentence. Agreeing to extra nourishment. You saw that and naturally assumed it was the same person. Even if we pull the security footage and see identical figures, I began to reason seriously in my mind, connecting all the previous clues, then quickly pushed the lunchbox aside, pulled the latest sketch out from the pile of papers, carefully compared it with the old sketch in my notebook. Captain Jang immediately understood that I had found some kind of clue. For fear of disturbing me, he only silently leaned over to observe, even holding his breath as quietly as possible. I get it now. I pointed at the 2 sketches and explained in detail. Do you see? At first glance, these 2 look like the same person, and also the killer you caught. But there's a big problem here. I still don't quite understand. Captain Jiang leaned in for a closer look, but he still couldn't see any difference. I patiently pointed at the drawing. Look here. Based on the descriptions, the portrait drawn has moles on both the chin and the cheek, but those descriptions came from different people. As for the person you caught, he does indeed have a mole on his cheek. This made us unintentionally overlook whether he has a mole on his chin or not. Or, have you thoroughly checked the suspect's social relations? Does he have a twin brother? No, Captain Jiang shook his head. Usually in cases like this, immediately, we would investigate the social relations.
And his family members. He's an only child, the household registration says. Before finishing his sentence, Captain Jiang suddenly stopped. Wait, no, he's adopted. We haven't investigated what happened before he was adopted. So, if this is a case involving twin brothers, wouldn't it be much easier to create an alibi? Before I could even finish my sentence, Captain Jiang dashed out. Teacher Luo, go ahead and eat first. I'm heading out. I looked down at the lunchbox, lost in thought. I reached for the phone beside me and saw that Tsundere still hadn't replied, so I called her directly. On the other end, it only rang once before someone picked up. I had to glance at the screen, affirming that it was connected before speaking. Didion, have you had lunch yet?
Not yet. Her voice was slightly hoarse and carried a strange sorrow. At that moment, my heart tightened with worry. Then wait for me. I quickly hung up, then covered my meal carefully and carried it out. As I passed through the common work area, I left both sketches there. I drove nonstop straight to Shishang Group. As soon as the receptionist saw me, she called to report, then quickly led me to the president's private elevator. However, when I reached the office door, Han Chuan was hanging his head. His face was extremely gloomy. His mood didn't look good at all. Assistant Han, I called out softly. Han Chuan turned around in surprise, looking at me with a face full of surprise and relief. Sir, you're finally here. What's going on? I asked in a low voice, my eyes peering through the glass into the room. The curtains inside were tightly drawn, so I couldn't see anything at all. Han Chuan whispered a reminder. President is very angry. The sound of things breaking has been coming from the office for an hour. I didn't even dare to step inside. She must be smashing things again. I also wondered what on earth had happened. Why was she breaking things like that? The most important thing was whether she had hurt herself. So without waiting for Han Chuan to finish, I directly pushed the door open and entered. I saw inside the office. Tsundere was sitting properly at her desk. Clear marks of things being smashed were still on the desk, except she had covered them with a few books. On the bookshelf behind her, books were stuffed in haphazardly. The computer monitor was smashed to pieces and had been hidden by her under the desk. In the corner, there was also a trophy that had been crushed, but the swing chair and the small cabinet by the floor-to-ceiling window remained intact. Seeing that it was me who walked in, Tsundere hurried to her feet to greet me. Ah, Luo, why are you carrying those things? I replied with a smile. Didion, it was you, wasn't it? It was you who ordered meals for everyone at the police station, just because you wanted me to eat a bit better. I brought my portion here. I also bought another portion downstairs. Let's eat together. I wanted to have a meal with you. I opened the bag and took out 2 lunchboxes. The place you ordered from was too far, so I just bought some noodles and side dishes, right below your office building. Let's eat. Didion, I'm hungry. Are you hungry? She nodded slightly, quickly pulled her chair behind me, and took another regular chair for herself, sitting down beside me. A second later, Tsundere pulled out her phone, snapped a quick picture and posted it to her friend's circle. Accompanied by the status, hubby brought me lunch. Noodles at this shop are amazing. Highly recommended to everyone. Then she even took a screenshot and sent it to the company group chat. Han Chuan, standing outside, was left speechless. He intended to go in and remind her, President, you sent it to the company group by mistake. But then he had second thoughts. How could Tsundere possibly make such a mistake? Immediately, a series of emoji icons appeared in the group chat. All of them were like buttons of praise. Someone even replied, this noodle shop really is delicious. Han Chuan gave a slight sneer, sarcastically thinking to himself, they are praising the noodles. With this kind of IQ, no wonder you're still single. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, Tsundere sent another message to the group. Sorry, everyone. I sent it by mistake. After finishing the meal, she called Han Chuan to come in. Han Chuan was trembling with fear as he cleaned up everything on the desk until it was spotless. After Han Chuan had left, I leaned back in the chair and asked coldly, Are you full? She stood up abruptly, then nodded slightly. Although she didn't know what mistake she had made, she could feel that Alu's tone was very unusual. She indeed realized it. She stood timidly to one side, with her hands hanging loosely at her sides. Her whole body showed signs of restlessness and anxiety. I wasn't in any hurry. Wanted to give her a little time, to let her reflect on what she had done wrong.
Seeing that I remained silent for a long time, the insecurity in her heart grew larger and larger.
Since seeing the news report this morning, that terrifying feeling of being abandoned immediately rushed back to her heart. Her hands began to clench tightly. All the emotions she had suppressed for so long suddenly burst out. In an instant, all the grievances surged up to her throat at once. Her nose tingled. Hot tears began to flow uncontrollably from the corners of her eyes. She tried her best to hold them back, but the more she tried to suppress them, the more violently the tears poured out. "Why are you suddenly crying?" I was startled and amazed. Hurriedly stood up and walked over to her, reached out my hand intending to wipe away the tears. She shut her eyes tightly. As if resigning to fate, she let out a soft sigh. "In the end, I'm still the one who lost. But I really don't understand where I lost. What exactly is so good about that Liu Ruyan? So good that even though you've already married me, your heart still lingers on her like this. Are you planning to comfort me a bit, so that afterward I'll be willing to sign the divorce papers with you, and then stand by as you fly into her arms? Didion, what's wrong with you?" I comforted her with a heavy heart, gently touching her cheeks, intending to lead her to a chair, but her body was stiff, with absolutely no intention of sitting down. She reached out to wipe her tears, forcing a strained smile. "Luma Chen, I know what's going on in your head. The moment I heard her call my full name like that, a chill ran down my spine. She rarely calls me by my full name so distantly like that. What on earth happened today? Why is she so heartbroken?" While I was still stunned and confused, she continued speaking. "Watching Liu Ruyan's company in trouble, your heart must be aching for her, isn't it? You don't have to answer me. I just want to say what's on my mind." She turned to glance at my face, which was full of confusion, but it was only a fleeting glance. She took a deep breath and continued. "I can help her. Her company was an empty shell to begin with. Now that the banks are calling in debts, she obviously can't pay. If you don't want to see her go to prison, then stay by my side obediently." Her hands were still tightly clasped in front of her chest. Pain surged from the depths of her soul. But she still tried to maintain a cold face, playing the villain. Then she emphasized every word. "If you dare leave, then I will destroy her, and I will destroy her company too. I, Tsundere, might not be a good person, but I have always been a person of my word. Luo Chen, you should know very well what kind of person I am." I spoke up, interrupting her. "What makes you think I would go and help Liu Ruyan?" As soon as the question left my lips, I suddenly understood everything. She must have seen that news report. Actually, I had intended to tell her about this long ago. It's just that when I got home, she was busy with a meeting. And then I got caught up in my own things and completely forgot. Looking back now, it's clear she has misunderstood. Furthermore, this misunderstanding is much more serious than I imagined.